Lord, we pray for a blessing upon our whole campus, Lord, our whole Southern University family, Lord. We just pray that you'll keep everybody healthy, keep everybody safe, and keep everybody in your protection. We ask this in the precious and sacred name forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father. Now I'm going to yield to the Vice President, Vice Chair of the Board, the Honorable Dr. Ronnie Whitfield.
Good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce the young man who will be doing our Pledge of Allegiance this morning. Cameron Tillage is a 12th grade honor student at the Southern University Laboratory School with a 3.5 GPA. Cameron is a recent recipient of the Silver Congressional Award and a captain on the Kitten football team. He is a very conscientious student with a humble spirit who has been attending our laboratory school since the 2nd grade. Currently, he serves as senior class president and officer for SGA, a beta member, and a student ambassador. He attends Greater King David Baptist Church and is the son of Ann Tillage and the father of Keith Tillage, who is also a Southern University graduate, Southern Laboratory graduate, a friend of mine, and has contributed to many projects on the Southern University's campus. Cameron plans to attend an HBCU. I think there's a typo on there, so it should have said he plans to attend Southern University, but we will talk about that later.
The HBCU.
Please put your hands together and welcome Cameron Tillage to the stage, you all.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Chairman Clayton, President Shields, members of the board, and distinguished guests. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron.
Cameron, you got a little height on you, man. We need a tight end in Southern.
Okay, now we'll go into item number 3, which is the recognition of former board members. And I see some former board members out there. And I'm going to yield to the staff, Dr. Renee, and how we handle this. And the former board members will come forward and be recognized for their great efforts. And I'm also yield certainly to the chairman for his comments. But I want to personally thank them. The board has been extremely connected. We were united through some challenging times, and these 3 individuals certainly were instrumental in some very aggressive things that took place over the last 2 years. I don't ever remember so many chancellors being selected and so many other positions being filled. And without a doubt, the wisdom of the folk that's standing before you played a very, very instrumental part in accomplishing that very, very arduous task. So we'll recognize, if you're ready, Dr. Renee. Our board members, do you want to do it collectively or individually? Okay. Come on up. Everyone come on up. In the middle. Come in the middle. Come in the middle. No. Come in the middle.
me and giving a round of applause for thanking these two guys for the service that they've done. You got it. Myron.
Thank you, Tom.
Choke me with it. Dr. Whitfield.
First of all, guys, this is overwhelming, surreal. My father would be very, very proud. You know, my dad was here for many, many years. I get emotional sometimes talking about it, but it has been an honor and pleasure to serve. I'm excited about the future of this board. This is not colleagues, these are family members. I love you guys. I'm going to continue to work as hard as I can. I'm going to help Tony as much as we can to make sure that Southern continues to be successful. So I just thank you all for this opportunity. And I'm just truly, truly blessed to have served on this board. Any time on Southern's campus is a great time for me. So thank you all for this honor. And I'm truly, truly, truly thankful and grateful. Thank you. And Myron Lawson was an amazing chairman for me. I served under Myron as well as Ed Shorty, and I learned so much from them. So again, thanks again. I just had to make sure that I let you know that you have become a brother to me, even though you're a little bit vertically challenged and a Kappa. But I love you, brother. And I thank you for everything that you've done.
All right. Thank you. You know, thank you for that, Mr. Vice Chair. He's been phenomenal. The board staff, Dr. Renee, Jackknife, I call him, fix it all, phenomenal. Dr. Tracy, Taylor Jarrell, unbelievable. We have talented members of the board, and we need to give them a round of applause. Certainly, Mr. President, a lot of challenging times, but we did it. Not with you. You said I said you're challenging. No, but no, we taught him, and he has some pretty good jokes now. He was a little rusty when he came here, but he loves Southern University, and we just need to continue to support him and this wonderful chair we have to my right. He's a dear brother. We talk more now than ever before. He's off to, I said it originally, change is required. It's required. He's not afraid of change. I'm going to work with him vehemently to make sure change continues to take place throughout the system. Thank you again. And my colleagues, thank you. Is installation of the 2025 board officers, new and returning. And we want to recognize, I'm going to yield to the chair so he can recognize a distinguished group of folk on the front row, all friends. Mr. Chair.
I see elected officials. Can y'all stand up, please?
I didn't even see
I didn't see my congressman. Ken Brass, Regina, and I think Dr. Carpenter, you come to the mic and say something, and I'm going to say the last one, and the other representatives say a quick word. Thank you all, particularly the Black Caucus, for what you've done for this university. So come to the mic, Ken, and I'm going to end with you, Congressman Fields, but come say something to us, and we're deeply grateful for what you folks have done. You first, Mr. Brass, and then I'll bring the ladies. You from Donaldsonville? You first.
Actually, I'm from Lutcher, Mr. Chairman. But no, it's always an indeed honor, blessing, and a privilege to come before you guys to recognize the great work that the Board of Supervisors is doing for the system and also for this great state. On today's kind of special to me because I'm here to support my dear friend and Mr. Reverend Henry, who's going to be sworn in a little later. So just want to kind of personally, publicly thank him and thank each of you for the service that you guys are doing and for the dedication and commitment to our students across Louisiana. As we mentioned, we do have this 2025 session coming up. So I'm looking forward to giving our president and our chairman, the entire board, to see how we continue to secure resources and funding for Southern here to all the different universities here across this great system. I'd like to personally thank the board members that's rolling off, Ms. Fondell, Dr. Talbert, and my dear friend, Ms. Chris Reed, and also congratulations for moving on to the Board of Regents. So I'd like to thank them for their service over the years. But once again, just here to support you guys, and whatever I can do to help you and move this system forward, definitely keep me in mind. Thank you.
Senator Barrow.
President,
well, this is home for me, so I'm going to yield to my senator first. Senator Barrow.
Thank you so much. This is my partner in good. I am ecstatic to be here this morning at the great Southern University. And I was so glad to hear the presentation going forward this morning, because we are the only system. And I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to us to represent that really proudly, even more so than we have in the past. And I'm ecstatic about the funding that we were able to secure during this special last session, in the tune of about $15 million that will come to the university. And that's just the beginning. And so there's a commitment every year to increase that, as well as the base. And so all of you guys know what I'm talking about when we talk about the base funding to this university, so that we can produce more Southernites that will represent us across this country, across this state, and across this city. So again, I just want to commend, and I'm here also, as my colleague said, to welcome in our new chairman and our new vice, and as well thank all of those who have continued to serve and those who actually are retiring off. Again, we thank you for your service. We could not do the work that we do if you were not here, and we could not provide the services to our young people if you guys were not here. So again, thank you so very much for what you do. We really appreciate you, and please know that we will always be here to support you. God bless you.
Good morning again.
morning.
For those board members who are new to the board, I am, let me put it this way. I'm State Representative Barbara Carpenter, but I'm also the Dean of International Affairs and University Outreach here at this Southern University campus. With that being said, I yield to Ken, because he's still relatively new. He's newer than us in the legislature. Regina and I are on our way on the other side. But at any rate, we make sure that Southern has monies that they need to operate. I serve as a senior member of the Appropriations Committee. This lady here works, we say she's my partner in crime, and she is. What I do on the House side takes it over to her on the Senate side. So you see, you always will have someone who's got your back. And so that is what we do. We work very hard to be sure that Southern is in play in the legislature. It is not easy, but it is hard work, and we're up for the task. So welcome to the new members. Welcome back to the not old members, but the traditional members. I'll put it that way. And so I have worked very closely with those members who are retiring from the board, and I will continue to do that as well. And so thank you for giving us the opportunity to say, as we say in the Baptist church, a word or two. Thank you.
Next, folks, joining me in welcoming to the podium a real son of Southern, person who came here in the 80s, worked through the 90s, the new millennium, and now he's our United States Congressman Cleofield.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good seeing you. Let me First of all, let me give some respect to those members who have served on this board with leadership and let's give all of them a big round of applause. Thank you, Dr. Carver. Thank all of you for your service. On yesterday, before I left Washington, I joined the HBCU caucus. So I'm now one of the members of the HBCU caucus, and we'll be working hard. I came here today because I wanted to share with my friend taking the oath of office. But Myron Lawson, first of all, to you, this legislature has followed your leadership. We've heard your calls, and we've heard the calls of the president. And I gave the report at the Bayou Classics. Southern University is going to be really a new school because of these legislators. We worked hard, and we're going to have some new buildings going up. So thank you, Myron, for your leadership.
Thank you, Congressman.
And then I had to come here because I didn't believe it. They said Tony Clayton was going to be the chairman of Southern University board, so I just had to come and witness it myself. But Tony, I wanted to come in and be here in your honor as well. And all of the new board members, I'm sure y'all are going to do a good job. And welcome to Southern University. I'm in the footsteps of, Cedric Richmond, who has represented this university with distinction. And then Troy Carter, who has represented this university with distinction. And I just hope I can follow in their footsteps and do the same. And I'm going to be working very hard to bring resources to Southern University. And Tony have already told me, I thought I was going to start small. He said, I want this bridge to come all the way. Okay, Tony. But we're going to work hard to try to bring Southern University resources. Thanks. Good to be here.
Now for the good stuff. Item number 4, installation of 2025 board officers, new and returning members. Before that, I'm going to officially turn this beautiful gavel over to a man, and with this comes a lot of responsibility, Mr. Chair. And I want to let you know, with God, your family, and the support of this board, this is going to be the greatest Southern University has ever been under your leadership, and we're going to let it grow from there. Let's give him a round of applause.
I humbly accept this gavel. I humbly accept this gavel, Mr. Lawson, Southern University. We got a lot of work to do, and the president and I have met several times. We're new BFFs. I wanted we started this board development piece with Ms. Maple Gaines for a reason, because we're going to highlight it throughout the entire tenure, my tenure, and my soon-to-be vice chairman's tenure. But she works hard. She's met with those ladies. They've been conversing on a regular basis. And folks, you will see an incremental increase in, take a praise from the president, in retention at Southern University. And she's been working and she's the right person. So thank you, Maple, for undertaking this. Let's go to the installation of officers. Do I go first for myself? I want to bring my mom, my 2 sisters, and my daughter up. And Mr. Fields, my plea brother, will you come up with my family to swear me in?
She doesn't. Fondell has one, I'm sure. It's an inside joke. That's it. Looks good.
I state your name.
I, Tony Clayton,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of this state, and that I will willfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as member of the Board of Supervisors of Southern University and Agricultural and Mechanical College, according to the best of my ability and
I will.
You may not officially.
This is my mom, my baby sister, my oldest sister, and y'all know my little daughter. I think y'all met Janae, and my brother from another mother, Congressman Fields. So thank y'all, and let's get started and get the rest of the folks to work. Thank you, Mom.
I think you got to swear the rest of them in first, right? I think I'm doing up here. Yeah. Want to do them together? Okay.
You want to switch these?
Oh, okay. So we're going to do them all individually. All right.
This one.
Abraham first.
All right. Reggie Abraham next. Let's swear him in. Will the family members of Mr. Abraham come up to the front?
Judge Tarver.
And Judge Tarver Smith will do the honors.
You guys are twins.
Easy now.
Hold this.
Pretty good looking suit you got on there, Reggie. You got to take it back later.
There you go. That's right, Chair. The tags are still on it. You got it.
All right, Mr. Abraham, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Reginald Abraham,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and the Constitution and the laws of this state,
as well as the bylaws of the Southern University Board of Supervisors,
as well as the bylaws of the Southern University Board of Supervisors,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as a member of the Southern University Board of Supervisors
as a member of the Board of Southern University Supervisors
to the best of my ability and understanding.
to the best of my ability and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Reggie, why don't you tell us who you got up there with you?
Thank you. That was Judge Tarver Smith. Who's a very good friend of mine going back to my college days or our college days here at Southern. I have my wife, Tracy Abraham, who many of you know, works here at Southern University, and my beautiful daughters who are seniors graduating in the fall of 2025, Megan Abraham and Morgan Abraham. Thank you.
Thank you, Reggie.
It doesn't matter.
Mr. Quincy Carter, the third best lawyer in Louisiana, after Mr. Rutledge.
You raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Quincy Carter,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state,
of this state,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties
all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as board member
as board member
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Quincy, talk to your new family. Say something to them. Next, we call the Reverend Donald Ray Henry, my friend. The family members of Mr. Henry, please come up. I would like my daughter and my niece and my surrogate daughter and my 2 administrators at my real job, my state representative, good friend Ken Brass, to come along. And my sister. Just stand wherever you are. This is my daughter. She's a freshman at Southern. Need a Bible? Fondale, need a Bible.
My mom has a mom will bring you Bible. Yeah.
Mondale has a lot of carnations in his Bible and funeral programs.
So I state your name.
Donald Ray Henry.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support.
That I will support.
The Constitution.
The Constitution.
And the laws.
And the laws.
Of the United States.
Of the United States.
And the Constitution.
And the Constitution.
And laws.
And laws.
Of this state.
Of this state.
And that I will faithfully.
And I will faithfully.
And impartially.
And impartially.
Discharge.
Discharge.
And perform.
And perform.
All of the duties.
All of the duties.
Incumbent on me.
Incumbent on me.
As a member.
As a member.
Of the Board of Supervisors.
Of the Board of Supervisors.
Of Southern University.
Of Southern University.
And Agricultural Mechanical College.
And agricultural mechanical college.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
And understanding.
And understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God. I just want to say to my daughter and all my good friends and my sister, thank you all for coming. And my 2 administrators, like I said, at my real job. And my good friend, Mr. Brass, and my niece and my surrogate daughter, who's been traveling with me on vacation for about 15 years, 10 years, and make everybody classic. Thank y'all for coming, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And then I also want to thank Judge Tamikio Francis, who we grew up in the same great city of Donaldsonville, the first capital of Louisiana. And you know, your dad and I were very good friends. I'm honored that you came and swore me in. Thank you.
Next, we will have Mr. Christopher Massengill. Massengill, come up.
Dr. Renee. Bible.
A second, he's going to bring you back.
You mind holding it for him? You need to hold it? Yes, you don't mind. Come. You want somebody to hold it? There you go. Come on.
I know he's handicapped.
He's hesitant.
I'll make it.
I'll no problem. Thank you, sir. I can go in the booth.
I'll hold that.
All right. I, and state your first name.
I, Chris Massengill,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state, and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent
upon me
as board member according to the best of my ability
and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul, very much. Thank you, board. I'm very, very excited about joining this incredible group of people and honored for the governor has given me this opportunity. Congratulations again, Congressman. You're going to represent this area so well in DC and the success, and members of the legislature. Thank you for the amazing support of this legacy institution. And I'm looking forward to learning and being a part of helping this institution be everything it can be. Thank you very much.
Next, we bring up the Honorable Boyne Rutledge, second best lawyer.
All right, raise your right hand and state your name.
I, Des Moines Rutledge,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
discharge and perform
all the duties
incumbent on me
as board member according to the best of my ability and understanding. So help me God. Congratulations, sir.
And last but certainly not least, our esteemed sheriff from North Louisiana, Sheriff Whitehall.
All right, raise your right hand and I, and state your name,
I, Henry Whitehorn, Sr.,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state,
and
that I will faithfully
and
impartially
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me as board member according to the best of my ability and understanding. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, new board members. Now, the power that's invested in me by the Louisiana State Constitution, my first act as chairman of 2025 is to open the floor for this board to nominate amongst its members a vice chair to work with me to help lead this university. The floor is now open for any nominations for the vice chairman of this esteemed board.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Lawson.
I recommend for the honor of serving as vice chair of this illustrious board, Mr. Reginald Abraham.
It's been moved by Mr. Lawson to nominate Mr. Reggie Abrams as the vice, and it's been second globally by Ms. Dana, Ms. Donna Ray, Ms. Ann Smith, Ms. Quincy, the entire board. Are there any other nominations for this position? Mr. Rutledge has moved. It has been closed. It's been seconded by Mr. Donna Ray. Henry, all in favor, vote aye. Aye. Any opposition, vote nay. Hearing no opposition, Mr. Reggie Abrams, go back to the front. You're now the new vice chair of this university. Congratulations. Come take your seat. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am filled with a lot of gratitude and a deep sense of responsibility as I accept this role of vice chair. It is truly an honor and a privilege for me to serve you, the board, Southern University family in this capacity. So I thank you. Secondly, as we move forward, I certainly am looking forward to engaging with you, collaborating with you, leaders, the entire Southern University family, to come up with various perspectives and ideas to move our institution forward. Only together, right, we will be able to face the challenges ahead. And we certainly need to take advantage of the opportunities that are before us. I will add, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, on a personal note, being an alumnus of Southern University, I am extremely passionate about the university and its system. However, my deepest passion is for the students that are walking the halls and walking the grounds of our campuses all across this institution. We must always keep them first and foremost. We must continue to educate them, to prepare them. So when they leave here, right, they are able to go out into the world and talk about this amazing experience that they've had here at Southern University. That is, if you don't know, our #1 marketing and recruiting strategy. Again, thank you for the opportunity. I'm extremely excited about it. Look forward to the things that we're going to be able to do together to move the mission of Southern University forward. And Brother Chairman, I'm just ready to roll my sleeves up and get to work.
Let's get started. Before I go to the next item on the agenda, any public comments from anything on this agenda that anyone wants to say anything, please come forward. Congratulations.
Okay.
What's your name?
Good morning, Chair. Dr. J.D., Faculty Senate President, SUBR. Thank you, sir. This is not my first time standing before honorable board members. We're here to actually appreciate you, welcome you as the new board chair, as well as the vice chair, Mr. Eber. We represent the faculty. I have my colleagues here, the vice president at SUBR and the SUNO president, she's here as well. You know, on behalf of the faculty senate, I'm pleased to welcome you as our new chair. We look forward to working with you. Why the faculty senate is not a political body, but was established to represent the interests of our faculty. Most of us are familiar with you, Chairman Clayton. We know where you stand. We know where you belong. Again, we'll be working with you. This is not, we do not antagonize anybody, but just to protect the interests of our faculty. Without faculty, there will be no students. We talk about retention all the time. Faculty must be happy. When students graduate, they come back to thank faculty for a job well done. Not to come back to say, oh, Chancellor, thank you. President, thank you. They don't even remember. If you ask them, 5 years ago, you're president, they will tell you, no, we're done. But they remember faculty. They do. Again, Mr. Chairman, we appreciate you, and it will not be fair for us not to recognize the former board chair, Chairman Lawson. I'm not here to enumerate his accomplishment. He was very, 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 very connected. He was familiar with the faculty senate. During our meeting, we'll call his cell phone and he will join us. You all just calm down. There was a time campus was.
It's going to be kind of hard when you compliment me and Myron.
Yes, sir.
But you got a time limit, so.
Yeah, thank you. We compliment you already. But
you can call me later. I'll give you my number. I'm liking these accolades.
You know, we'll surely get that. Yeah, we'll surely get that. We'll surely get that. Right. So, as a matter of fact, Mr. Chair, we are not going to forget you, Chairman Lawson, and the 3 board members that will not be joining us, but we are happy that Chairman Lawson is still here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Well, current board chair Tony Clayton and vice chair Reginald Abrams. And I want to say a very special thank you to the former chairman, Brother Lawson, and Dr. Whitfield. They've worked tirelessly to bring positive changes to this university. And we've seen lots of changes, buildings, everything coming up on the campus. And what I want to say most importantly about what they did, they cared about students. They cared about the students and the faculty. And as a matter of fact, we have several positive changes on the campus because of their tireless work. Now, Tony Clayton, we think you're going to be the best chair ever. Now,
You can stay long. You know, sorry, go ahead.
But anyway, Reginald, we think y'all going to work. We had many discussions last night, and some of the positive changes you want to implement on the campus, we look forward to working with you to make this place a better place for the students, faculty, and staff of this university. And thank you again. And Tony, once again, welcome.
Appreciate it.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Miko Thompson, the Faculty Senate President at Southern University at New Orleans. And I will not belabor the point. I just want to say welcome, Boardman Clayton, Board Chair Clayton. I hope that this is a long, prosperous relationship between the Southern University system. And I hope that Pentagon analogy holds true. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Seeing that there are no other public comments, I'll move to item 6 on the agenda, special presentations. Baton Rouge.
Yes. Good morning, Chairman Clayton.
Morning.
And Vice Chairman Abraham and members of the board, Mr. President. This morning, we have a very special honor. We're going to show you a video presentation of a documentary, and I'll ask Dr. Robin Merrick to come and introduce the president of LPB at Southern University alum.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Good morning, Chairman Clayton, Vice Chairman Abraham, members of the Board of Supervisors. Mr. President, good morning. Louisiana Public Broadcasting, as you all well know, is Louisiana's storyteller. And as such, they have partnered with Southern University on a number of projects. And this new project is coming up that our president and CEO of LPB will come forth and share with us. But what I wanted you to know about the president and CEO of LPB is that he is the son of Southern. He received his bachelor's and his master's degree here at Southern University through the Mass Communications program, which has led him to the role that he is in now at Louisiana Public Broadcasting as its president and CEO. And he's served in this role since 2022. And he's been at Louisiana Public Broadcasting for more than 25 years. I introduce to you all Mr. Clarence C.C. Copeland.
Morning, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair. It's an honor to be here. It's feel like a homecoming. 48 years ago this August, I crossed that overpass. We called it the hump back then. I'm not sure if they still call it the hump, but it started my journey here at Southern University, and now I serve as the 4th president of Louisiana Public Broadcasting, the first African-American to do it in 50 years. So, but why I'm here today is we started a project with Maryland Public Broadcasting 3 years ago in conjunction with the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They are the ones that feed congressional funds into PBS. And they started out and they said they needed content for their HBCU channel. Well, one morning I received an email and I read it. And all of the universities that they had on it were all East Coast schools. So I immediately picked up the phone, called the chairman of Maryland Public Broadcasting, and I say, how can you go forward with a program highlighting HBCUs and leave out Southern University, the only HBCU with a system? The only one that has a system and a thriving law school. And he said, well, we're just doing things on HBCU rivalries. I said, well, wait a minute. Now you sparked my interest. How can you do something on an HBCU rivalry and leave out the granddaddy of them all, the Bayou Classic? I say, and then to add to that, how can you leave out the world famous human jukebox, often imitated but never ever duplicated? The only band that's played in 5 Super Bowls, 3 presidential inaugurations, 4 Sugar Bowls. He said, brother, you dropped the mic. But that's not why I'm here today. Today I'm here because this past year we focused on origins. And we thought that the Southern University Law Center is a gem. And I know when we did the interviews, Chairman Clayton and his wife were part of the interviews, and we had a really good time. So I'm not going to labor you any long, but this is a small documentary, an 8-minute piece. Now, we have over 25 hours of video, but we had to condense it into 8 minutes. It's already been shown nationally, but what we're planning to do at LPB is take the extra video that we have and put it into a 30-minute documentary. Now, you can use this 8-minute piece, I told Chancellor Pierre, as a recruiting tool for the Law Center. So I'm not going to labor you, so please enjoy this video. And thank you for having me.
Is probably the greatest change agent that has ever existed in the state of Louisiana. Our folks go out there and do things that other folks just don't think is possible.
The value of an HBCU to a community is undeniable.
No legal education, no experience more profound than the one I got here at Southern University School of Law.
What Southern University Law Center embeds in you, the world benefits.
This law school has helped thousands of people.
HBCUs, in and of themselves, created the Black middle class. They lifted us from poverty. They educated us from the 1880s, right after slavery, and we owe a direct credit to these HBCUs across this country.
When we think about the beginning of Southern University Law School, which opened in 1947, the real key was that Charles Hatfield in 1946 started a campaign. And what he was trying to do was to gain admission into law school as an African American in the state of Louisiana.
Charles Hatfield was a World War II vet, and he wanted to be a lawyer also. And he came back, and there was no Southern University Law School.
When he applied to LSU Law School at the time, he was not accepted because they did not accept African American students.
Black lawyers in 1947 had a very limited space in this universe. They could only really service Black people.
This was 8 years prior to Brown v. Board of Education. And the NAACP had a full assault on the whole idea of segregation and separate but equal, using higher education as the point. And by the time that he started his campaign, we had 10 years of litigation, beginning with Thurgood Marshall, to make sure that African Americans got access to graduate and professional school education. A.P. Turo in New Orleans was a giant of a man in terms of what he did. And when he connected with him being in New Orleans and him being a Xavier alone, they made all the difference in the world in terms of him being inspired to do that. And Louis Berry was another attorney involved in that case with Thurgood Marshall, and ultimately having the lawsuit filed on October 10th, 1946.
That lawsuit resulted in the creation of the Southern University Law School. And the first graduating class was in 1957. Dean A.A. Lenoir was tabbed as the first dean of the law school. He brought on a cadre of professors, and it was a combination of Black professors, and there were some white professors from LSU. Dean Lenoir had the mindset to make sure that, he trained Black lawyers for the civil rights fight. Dean Jesse Stone, who became president of Southern, was a big civil rights attorney up in North Louisiana.
After getting the law degree and going back up North Louisiana, practicing law, he was so angry when he went in the courtroom that they wouldn't allow him to sit before the rail
people like that, they had the mindset that when they got out of law school, they was out in the fight. And that's what it was all about. Students coming here, being trained to, take up the mantle to fight for civil rights.
A lot of the breakthroughs in Louisiana from a civil rights perspective would not have occurred without those graduates from Southern University who were really inspired to be change agents, and they were going to be transformational leaders in their communities.
Graduates of this school has been involved in every major civil rights case that they've had in Louisiana.
It produces, an extraordinarily large number of African-American attorneys. And when you think about the number of people who don't have access to justice, who don't have access to resources, it's important that people come out of this law school and go back to the communities that they came from and practice law.
I had this little theory. I would say, I'm going to law school to make the law, not to practice the law. When I was first elected to the state senate, every black lawmaker graduated from Southern University.
Southern took me from the backdoor cane fields of South Louisiana and polished me into a gem so that I can shine throughout courtrooms throughout this country and this state.
Our mission is really to build a certain kind of lawyer. We're building lawyers that's not going to accept systems that fail, but will challenge them and fix them and improve them. I am the product of a Southern University graduate. I learned about our rich civil law tradition and how to be a player in that. And that would later launch a lot of my professional pursuits, including making history of changing Louisiana's non-unanimous jury law.
When I was elected judge, I was only the 7th black person to be elected to a judgeship in Louisiana. And consequently, to see how the cadre of black judges have grown since then has really been remarkable.
When I graduated from this law school, we graduated 6 women. 6.
Judge Janice Clark, who really challenged the way judges were elected in the state of Louisiana. And that was a monumental task. I mean, they were really risking a lot, but they challenged the way judges were elected in Louisiana, and they filed that lawsuit.
But as a result of our landmark case, Clark versus Edwards, we have more black judges per capita than any state in the nation. I believe I owe it to the community to continue in this struggle. Today, we are tasked with saving a democracy. I don't know if we knew that we would get to this point, but the forefathers knew, and they put certain mechanisms in place. This is a point in time in the continuum that we have a role to play. And Southern University School of Law is uniquely situated.
In 10 years, I see the Law Center being a leader in acknowledging the past in order to address present-day legal and healthcare disparities. We must acknowledge the past and learn from it.
And when we use the word Southern, it's interchangeable with all HBCUs, because this story that we're telling you, I guarantee you there are millions of couples that emanated from this place like this that has the same stories.
And I'll see us having a body of compelling work to show the world that we have grown with the times. We're no longer that place that produces black lawyers to work in the black community, but we produce world changers. And that's what I anticipate us doing in the next 10 years, meeting those new demands, because the demands are not going to be the same. They're extremely different, but we'll be ready.
Southern University plants seeds of empowerment. So I walk these halls 87 to 90, knowing that I had a seriousness of purpose. And that purpose was to return and pay it forward.
To uplift youth. That's the most important thing for us, is to encourage youth, encourage them to be successful, and let them know there is a place and a home that you can go.
To be able to pass the baton to the next generation, you need to have able runners. And so serving at the Law Center gives you an opportunity to continue that mission. And I think that more of us should do it.
Mr. President, Thanks for for all that you do. I understand you emanate from the great city of Lake Charles. Mr. Findell. That was an awesome piece. Thank you. Ms. Merrick, I think we have another Coca-Cola presentation.
Yes, Chairman Lawson. The other day, actually on January 2nd, I mean, it was the day right after New Year's, I was in my office at about 8:30 in the morning, and they said, "Hey, we got some folks from Coca-Cola here." I said, "Well, great. I have a Coke and a smile, and I'm ready to talk to them." And Mr. Roderick Crockett came with representative of Coca-Cola. I will tell you that my neighbor right behind me, Keith, is a Coca-Cola man, and I always have a Coke and a smile every morning. Every morning. And he said, "Hey, I want you to be aware of a great award that has been bestowed upon Southern University as part of Coca-Cola." I said, "Well, let's do it." I wrote the letter right then and there. Let's put it on the agenda, and they're here and they're ready with the whole team.
Yes.
All right.
And we're honored. We're honored to be here to represent the Coca-Cola brand. My name is Keith Beatonhorn. Chairman, all of us are not going to speak, I promise you. But we do want to recognize our partnership, our brand, and one of the best brands in college, the Southern University. The partnership is strong, and my territory manager, Mr. Roderick, is going to tell you about this award, but I have with me Aaron Sperling. He is our BDM that calls on Southern. I have my on-premise sales manager, Brian Davies, and of course, Mario, our community and special projects leader, and also Chris Alak, division vice president for Coca-Cola. So we are honored to be here, and thank you, Chancellor Pierre, for acknowledging I am your neighbor. And so with that, I want to say, Roderick, please tell us what we've won and what we're presenting to Southern University.
Great. First of all, I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman. Congratulations again. I came because today I wanted to present Southern University with a great opportunity that we had as part of our national Coca-Cola Best of the Best College and University. And what that means for us is basically we talking about a program that we reinforce college channel focus. So what that means basically is we do a number of things on campuses, from what we do here in the cafeteria, what we do on campus in vending, what we do on campus in all aspects as far as Coca-Cola is concerned, retail, so on and so forth. So this program is basically a national program, and across 7 bottlers, we actually had 49 entries into this, and there was tier categories with Southern University being in tier 2. And just to let you know, the standard is still the standard. Southern University actually won this prestigious program from the national standpoint of what we do here on campus. And so we really are honored that we were able to come here to represent Coca-Cola, and just to show you how strong our partnership is here with Southern University and their system. So again, if we move forward, it's the crown jewel. You can kind of see what happens. There's different tiers that we actually had to do. We had to do some entries, take pictures of all the execution that we have here on campus. And again, with that being said, we were the best of the best in class. So everything that we presented to Coca-Cola nationally, they will use it, take it to other universities, and see how they can implement it in these universities. So with that being said, there is a trophy for that in Southern University. We're going to present you guys with $1,000 scholarship that you guys can use as a scholarship, or in order to do a recycling program, or whatever it is that you guys feel the need to do with it. But you can see the best of the best winners this year. Southern University tier 2, Tuskegee was 2nd, Alabama State 3rd. So again, it shows the real relationship that we have with the university, that we are able to execute everything that we're able to do here on campus. And again, it was 49 schools and 7 bottler partners that was actually participated in this program.
Thank you so much.
So we definitely want to do this. We want to take a picture, see Chancellor Pierre stand and take this picture with us right quick. And we definitely are happy to be able to present this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Merrick, before we go to the next one, you have a presentation for us. Thank you, Coca-Cola. Appreciate you. Thanks for the continued working relationship with you guys. Appreciate you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning again. Are you calling for the recap video? Very good. I will turn that to Mr. Lawson for this project that he requested of our staff to put together a 2-year recap of the activities that have taken place under this board's leadership over the 2023 and 2024 years.
And I'm sitting next to my colleague, Mr. Chair, who recommended that, and I hope it becomes something that we do when we pass the gavel.
We will, and this is
very
awesome.
brief, very brief.
Can we start it? That was rather short. All right, there we are. next item, Chancellor Pierre, you want to give a brief remarks before we go to this presentation?
Sure. Again, so the Baton Rouge Zoo is acquiring a new Jaguar. And so there was a competition about the naming of the Jaguar. And Mr. Art DeBrell said, hey, what about Lacumba? And that kind of started a firestorm. And Dr. Merrick picked up on it and said, hey, let's start doing a campaign to name the Jaguar Lacumba. So you actually had to vote. And I'll let her explain how that process worked and with Mr. Brill.
Yes. Good morning, Chairman Clayton.
Good morning.
President Shields, Chancellor Pierre, the rest of the board members and distinguished guests. Good morning. Yes, I serve on the Baton Rouge Zoo's advisory committee for BREC. And just quick, Chancellor gave most of the backstory. At our committee meeting, we informed about the Jaguar cub being born in the Baton Rouge Zoo. It was a naming contest, and three names came from zoo staff. And surprisingly, none of those names were Lacumba. So I immediately asked, could we do a write-in candidate since this was done via social media? And I was told, yes, we could. So before I left the zoo's parking lot, I was on my phone on social media and I put it out there. And I'm not trying to take credit for it because it was the Jaguar Nation that voted to get Lacumba to that runoff spot. And on January 1st, Lacumba and another named Seti came to be the finalists, and the Baton Rouge Zoo Foundation used it as a fundraiser where you cast a vote and you paid $1 per vote. And so the vote is between Lacumba and Seti, and the voting ended on Wednesday. And so I have Mr. Jim Fleshman, the director of the Baton Rouge Zoo, and some members of the Baton Rouge Foundation and board and zoo staff. I'd like to ask them to come up, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Fleshman to make the announcement about the Jaguar Cubs name.
I was thinking you had to write in a Tony the Tiger, but that didn't.
One omission, Vice Chairman Reginald Abraham, you serve on that committee with me. Please come down and join us.
Well, good morning. As you can see, it takes a village to run the zoo. And so I'm the director of Baton Rouge Zoo, and I send our regrets. Superintendent Wilson was not able to be here. He's at a Park Alliance board meeting, but representing BREC is the COO, Andrea Roberts. We have Zoo Advisory Committee members. We have foundation members. We have Rhonda Ruffino, the executive director of the foundation. Board chair, Craig Hoover. We've got Blaine Grimes here. Sarah Campbell is the marketing director for the foundation, and Brittany Tully is the senior communications manager for the zoo. So this was an exciting time for us. There hadn't been a Jaguar born at the zoo in almost 25 years. And this female had cubs before, but they didn't live. They were stillborns. And so when we found out that she was pregnant this time, we decided to let her see if she had learned anything over those other two pregnancies and come out to find out she had. And so she's raising this kitten, and it's doing a great job. On a more national and international level, it's very important for her genetics. This couple, the pair that we have, their genetics are not well represented in the captive population in the United States. There's trouble being able to import animals from Central and South America. So having new genetics that aren't represented, this makes this animal extremely important. And I will tell you that Jaguar Nation did come out. Once the write-in vote started, I started getting calls at home. So that was a fun thing. I don't know how they got my number, but they did. Superintendent was getting calls at home. So it was sort of a kind of a whirlwind of what was going on. So we're very, very proud to be able to call the new Jaguar at the zoo Lacumba 3.
All right. Well, let me speak to you on behalf of this board. This means a lot to the Jaguar Nation. And I'm sure our fans would make it out there to visit the young cub. But on behalf of all of those folks standing behind you, thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate this, and we will do what we can to make sure that Jaguar prospers over there. Thanks again.
Thank you all very much.
Reggie, did you have any inside deal to get this thing named Lacumba?
No, I didn't.
All right, I'm going to move to informational items. Next, above and beyond process nomination criteria.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the leadership of Chairman Emeritus Smith, a number of years ago, this award was established. Is it on? Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Under the leadership of Chairman Emeritus Smith, a number of years ago, the outstanding award of Above and Beyond was created. As with almost anything that happens, as the years roll by, improvements, changes are made. We feel that we may have wandered a little away from the path, and so I want the board to know that with Chairman Emeritus Smith's guidance and the support of Dr. Tracy and the President's Office staff, we will be returning to the old documents and trying to get it back on track with what its original purpose was, and determining things like, do we want to do it every meeting or do we want to do it quarterly, that kind of thing. We're also going to contemplate a separate award for students. And I'm charging chancellors, each of your chief student affairs officers, to work with your student governments to develop an award that's specific to students to go in parallel with this. But we'll call it something different than Above and Beyond, because that was more directed at staff on our campuses. That's what I have to report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll now entertain item B. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Rutledge and second by Ms. Maple Gain. The Special Recognition Committee is now adjourned. I now switch the microphone and the control of this meeting over to the Athletics Committee. Mr. Des Moines Rutledge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if this is on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, call the meeting of the Athletic Committee to order. Mr. President, roll call.
Yes, sir. Attorney Des Moines Rutledge.
Here.
Dr. Ronnie Whitfield.
Here.
Mr. Reggie Abraham. Ms. Maple Gaines. Mr. Donald Ray Henry. Mr. Chris Massengill. Mr. Paul Matthews. Mrs. Ann Smith. Mr. Henry Whitehorn. Attorney Tony Clayton.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Go to item 3 now. I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of today's agenda.
So moved, Dr. Whitfield.
It's been moved by Dr. Whitfield and I believe seconded by Mr. Matthews. Is there any objection to the adoption of today's agenda? Hearing none, the agenda stands adopted. Item 4, we have public comments, and I've been given a card by Oswald DeVerne, Faculty Senate. Combined leadership that led to SWAC Western Division Championship and Soccer Championship. Those were the comments. Thank you. We go. Oh.
Yeah, testing. Okay. Yeah, good morning, Chairman Clayton, Vice Chairman.
Good morning.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay. Okay, let's start again. Okay. Good morning, Chairman Clayton, Vice Chairman Abrams, President Shields, the distinguished members of the board, all faculty and workers and students in attendance, Chancellor Pierre, Vice Chancellor Laurier. I would like to talk about the shared leadership that led to the we winning the Western Division Championship in football and also the soccer championship. Also, too, I want to praise A.D. Banks and Coach Grace for their work in bringing us to such a level of success in football and soccer. Also, too, I want to talk about just briefly about how I've worked with Chancellor Pierre to move this university forward, and we continue to work with him. He accepted us. He accepted us into his office. Whenever we come in, we work together, and we look forward to working with him in the future for the betterment of the students and the faculty alike. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Clayton, I'm here to use this opportunity to apologize to my sister president as well as my campus chancellor peer. The first time I came here, I inadvertently skipped their names, during the recognition. I'm just here to apologize that it was a mistake I made, Mr. President, and my beloved chancellor. I inadvertently skipped that recognition. Thank you, Chair. Right.
Thank you. We'll go now to action item 5A, request approval for the reinstatement of the men and women track and field program at Southern University in New Orleans, effective fall of 2025. Is there a motion?
Motion.
It's been moved by Mr. Matthews and seconded by Mr. Massengill. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the item stands approved. Dr. Ammons, was there anything that you wish to add to this?
Well, to Chair Lawson, Vice Chair Abraham, and members of this distinguished board, and you, Mr. Chairman of the Athletic Committee, Rutledge, I want to thank this board for allowing us to bring back to Southern University at New Orleans two historic athletic programs. Track and field, this program has been a significant part of SUNO's history. It produced Olympians, national championships, and now we're bringing it back, but we're bringing it back in a fiscally responsible way. And so I want to thank you for your approval.
Thank you. We'll go now to item 6. Is there any other matters to consider?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If I may. Since the folks from the zoo is here, I just want to throw it out. I don't know who on staff, President Shields or somebody on the board who has these connections, but the Jaguar is part of the Panther family. So the Panther can be either a Jaguar or a Cougar. So I had this crazy idea that as a Jaguar, the Black Panther is basically a Black Jaguar. So if we have a contact with Disney, I think it'd be a great idea if we had a blackout for the football game, coordinated with Disney for like a Black Panther night for a Southern football game. So I don't know who would do that, President Shields. It's just an idea, throwing it out there. Y'all figure it out.
You prefaced it by saying it was a crazy idea, but no, I think I couldn't resist. But I think maybe you should have a conversation with the athletic director.
You might get Mr. Massengill to make that Black Panther.
We go.
Sound like a lot of thought went into that. It wasn't so random.
We go now.
Did they run out of coffee?
I agree. All right, Mr. Matthews moves that we adjourn.
I second that.
Committee stands adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Now we go to my esteemed reverend from this great city of Donaldsonville, the first capital, I heard you say, of the state of Louisiana. It's Reverend Donald Ray Henry.
Roll call, Mr. President. Meeting is called to all roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Donald Ray Henry.
Present.
Ms. Maple Gaines. Present. Mrs. L. Dudley. Mr. Chris Massengale. Mr. Paul Matthews. Attorney Des Moines Rutledge. Attorney Edwin Shorty. Mrs. Ann Smith. Dr. Ronnie Whitfield. Attorney Tony Clayton.
I'm here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. We need a motion to adopt the agenda. Been moved and seconded by Shorty, seconded by Ms. Maple. All in favor? All opposed? Seeing no objection. Any public comments at this time? Do we have any public comments? Seeing none, we're going to move to action item number 5.
This is Act 465 of 23, appropriated 1.65 million for the Law Clinic Annex project. Request appropriation by increase by 800K of fees and self-generated revenues, bringing the total budget authority for the project to 2.5 million. We're going to ask Mr. Ken to elaborate on this for the board.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Facility Chair Henry, and to the new board members. Welcome to Chairman Clayton. Thank you, sir, and we appreciate all the opportunities here. This is very simply the authorization for FP&C to receive additional funding that's already available for this particular project. The money is already there, but FP&C needs to have the authorization to receive the dollars. After approval is here, it goes to the Board of Regents. The Board of Regents approve it, and then FP&C will have the authorization to receive the additional dollars for this particular project.
At this time, we entertain a motion. Been moved by Shorty, second by Mr. Matthews. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Item passed. At this time, we're going to have number 6, informational items. Before I let Mr. Ken speak on this, I wanted to talk to the members of the board, Mr. Chairman, and to all honorable members of the board. I had the opportunity to travel to SUNO and visit the Baton Rouge campus and spoke to Mr. Ken and his staff. And I didn't get a chance to talk to the maintenance leader, but I want to be able to say to the board, and I'll be traveling to SUSLA soon. I want to say to the board, in my last tenure, I had not seen so many construction projects on the campus, and I was very pleased to recognize so many shovel-ready projects and projects that are being implemented by this new administration. I am pretty familiar with the process when it comes to facility and getting monies from capital outlay and HB2. And as I kind of looked, Mr. Chairman, at the bill we have that we were bragging on earlier with the Black Caucus supporting us with all of these projects, it is miraculous the things we have going on. And I want to say to the members of the board, it's a slow process, but I think in the near future, we're going to see some great projects developed and finished. As I also want to make note of, the projects that we have on campus that we see are likened to building a house, a $2.5 million house. And a lot of times, board members, students, parents will only see that we don't have the landscaping together. We don't want to mix this up. So in the future, what I mean by that is we have a lot going on, and we'll come on campus, we'll ride around, we'll look at the ravine, we'll go back to the students' housing, and we'll see a little paper, and we don't want to mix the two problems up. And I want to make sure that we get with this maintenance department and kind of clean up around those students' apartments and housing so that we can stop some of the complaining, because there are people who are listening at us right now, have called and talked about that. But we also want those same people to understand we have a lot of great things going on. And I want to say from my experience of working with capital outlay on a daily basis for 8 years, I think we have the very best team to complete this. I visited SUNO and I had some positives and a lot of negatives, and I'll be able to report to you, Mr. Chairman, as I gather the data and come up with a plan. I think one problem we have is the org chart. At this time, I don't know who's responsible to who answers to who for the most part, but I know they answer to somebody. We need to reorganize that org chart, and we'll get together and deal with that. And Mr. Ken, I had that conversation with you, but at this time, if you want to know what we're having in priority 1, priority 5, and money that they can spend right now, you can just go to the legislative website and search for House Bill 2, and then kind of search for Southern University, and you'll see all of the money that we got coming in. And we don't want this to get mixed up with
little paper in the back of the campus. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I want to congratulate your team.
Yes, sir.
And I'll be meeting with you in the future to bring to the board. I want to be able to bring to the board the positive things that we're doing.
Yes, sir.
From month to month. Whatever we did in last month and how have we moved from last month to this month with physical pictures. This is the way it looked last month, this is the way it looks this month, so that we can keep our view positive. Mr. Ken,
yes, sir.
On this agenda, you can discuss the update. Thank you. We have a question? Sure.
We've been unable to practice, so the bowling team is going to Airline Highway to practice. The kids are having to drive, they're having to pay for that, they had to pay the bowling alley, so we're trying to get the bowling alley up to par, and I think we've got some things going to happen pretty soon, so thank you and Chairman Clayton for responding and taking care of that. I got a text and I called those guys last week, and within minutes we were on top of it, so thank you for responding.
I got something. Yeah, Mr. Chair. I want to welcome back, Mr. Henry. I can tell you're back with a vigor. I called our new chairman of facilities. He got in touch with Maple Gaines and Shorty, and they went to SUNO. They assessed the problem. Our foundation director, Al Laurel, was involved. And folks, you would be proud to see the way we operate as a system. So thank you, Mr. Harrell. I mean, you were right on it, and we are assessing the SUNO issue, but because the expertise of Mabel and Shorty and you, it shows that these committee chairs are taking it seriously. And lastly, as to what you said, Dr. Whitfield, he told us about a leak. I called Donna Ray, and they put in place to get that leak fixed. But Shorty, you dropping what you were doing, Maple, it means a lot to us that the chairs are now the ones taking hold and doing what you guys are supposed to do. So, Donna Ray, I hear you and welcome back. So folks ought to be worried around here with a little paper on the ground. You'll be making a list and checking it twice.
Make the president fine. No.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. Anything else? If I may just address the union.
Hold on for a second.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
So it just makes sense to me. We lose millions of dollars worth of buildings and rooms that's not even put to use. We should contract a service out to inspect our buildings. First of all, dealing with inspection. Are we ready for the cold weather event that's coming on our campuses? If not, do we need to contract out weatherproofing our buildings?
Yes, sir. That's the question. Again, facility planning, but I know that there was some discussion to make sure that there was winterization going on and looking at what was necessary in anticipation of the upcoming temperature decreases that we expect next week.
Southern Laboratory students were Southern Laboratory students were requesting a safer passageway for the students to cross the street, and it did get handled. They have realigned and remarked the streets and sidewalks for safety for our students. So I would just like to say on a positive note, thank you, and thank the security officers for doing that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Just briefly to kind of go over what's going to be coming up in the next legislative session. First of all, let me thank the facility chairs that I've worked with, Mr. Gillum, and then also Attorney Shorty. A lot of things that have happened with that in facility committee. President Shields, my boss, Mr. McClinton, has always supported quite a few things. And also to the elected delegation, I can tell you the conversations that we've had to make sure that we were on task with what we needed to talk about when we went down to a legislative session. Through the focus on making sure things were identified, that the ask was clear, we were able to be very successful. Right now, most of the projects that we have moving forward are funded. For instance, the new STEM building, we're going to be breaking ground on a new STEM building this quarter. The faculty, the staff are moving out of James Hall. James Hall is the first process that's going to be torn down. We'll be asking that we continue to get additional funds for 2026 funding for construction. But another thing we're going to be asking for is a commitment from the Division of Administration to move the project forward. School of Business will start sometime this year. We expect the School of Business to start maybe sometime in the second quarter. The renovations of the Law Center, I mean, that project is moving forward. That's enough funding to get that done. The new physical education recreation facility at SUSLA, that project is shovel ready. We will definitely be moving forward, making sure that there's money there. The nursing school project, J.K. Haynes, that is under design. The university cafeteria, Dr. Ammons and at SUNO, that project is under design. Funding is in place for that. The replacement of the chilled water system here in Baton Rouge, that project should have our construction documents ready toward the end of the second or third quarter. The disaster mega shelter. I'm sure that our ag people will be interested in talking about that. They're going through a peer review on that project. There's money that we're waiting, that once that peer review is done, FEMA should give us the authorization and give us their money to move forward with building of that particular facility. We have design projects that continue to moving forward. I'm sure that Dr. Whitfield will be interested. Southern Lab, sir. Southern Lab School is in design. We're moving out of programming. We're moving into schematic design now. Mr. Brister and his team has been just very important in that particular project. Dr. Gant, Lewis Collier, we've had conversation with FPNC and Board of Regents just this week about how we're going to address that particular building. Quite honestly, the building is in such disrepair that first thing we have to do is to put up a program that goes in and basically kind of clean the building out like we talked about and take care of the mold issues so you can even do an assessment on how we move forward. That was agreement with FPNC and Board of Regents to do that. So that's what we are moving forward. We have funding, existing funding for the New Forward Training Center at SUSLA. Dr. Gannon and I, we're working on making sure we secure the property for that so we can accomplish that. SUSLA also has a domestic water loop line that has been having severe problems because of just ruptures. We have $7.5 to $8 million in the project. We will be going to Engineering Selection Committee sometime in the next couple of months to make that happen. I just want to say this, and I'm willing to speak to any board member at length. And Mr. Henry, you and I already talked several times, and we will be talking again. But this is just a few of the projects that we have going. Not to even talk about deferred maintenance projects that we have going this year at the tune of about $16 million. I mean, not even talking about the HERF projects that you see being constructed across the street, HERF projects that you see being constructed when you come on campus, the new police station, and soon the Harris Hall Learning Lobby. We also expect that in the next session, we will be getting an additional 20, 25, hopefully $30 million that will be put toward deferred maintenance project that would increase our ability to continue to do the work that's needed. And let me tell this board, what's exciting about Act 751, it allows us to go in and do complete renovation of buildings. That means not going in and bidding pieces like we normally been doing and then finding other problems. We will be able to go in and do complete renovations. And after 26 session comes in, when they actually bond out all the money for all the deferred maintenance for higher ed, we'll really be rolling. So that's just a brief summary because it could be a long time going through all the details, but I'll be answering the question, but I am satisfied. We are moving forward. You're going to see some drilling over here on the bluff because now DOTD and Army Corps of Engineers will be doing both need to do to solve this particular problem. Mr. Chairman, you and I already talked about the Ravine $35 million project that we're waiting for approval from the feds. That will probably happen at the end of the year. We expect that project to start construction in early 26. So a lot of things going on. thank everybody for the support. My group is very excited to make it continue to happen.
Mr. Kent, would you elaborate a little bit more on the bowling alley and how it's going out for bid and how much we're spending on it?
Yes, sir. The bowling alley is going out for advertisement. It will become the 20th of this month. It will be going out for advertisement. What that means, you're going to advertise for the contractor to come in and prepare their documents. They will be submitted back to FPNC. Contract will be submitted. That contract will be mobilized to go ahead and fix that situation with the bowling alley. It's about a $2 million spend on deferred maintenance that we're doing on that repair.
Ms. Mabel.
Yes. I'm asking for an update on the National Park Service initiative that we discussed some time ago.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Is there any news on that?
Yes. I did look at the National Park Service. That is a grant that basically supports historical district, as you know, building sites and that kind of thing, structures, objects, and HBCU campuses. The cost is allocated toward preservation, architecture plans, specification of historical structures. And what we're looking at is trying to get money to do rehab and some rehabilitation on our buildings. Now, we're going to combine it with money that we already have. Right now, we're putting $1.4 million into the Navy building, and we're also putting $4 million of renovation into the Army building. So I've talked to, we have a person that we hired with my team, contractor that's helping look at these particular grants. So we moving forward, we see how can we combine the funding with this grant with what we're doing with the money that we have now. So yes, ma'am, we're looking into it.
Ms. Ann?
The question in regards to additional dormitories, what kind of discussion do we have here in the makings for additional dormitories for Southern University Baton Rouge campus?
We're working with the foundation. We have contracted with an entity named JLL. They have done market research. They've done a survey of students. They're about to close out this section of it. So we know type of facility, a room arrangement, suite style, that kind of thing. They're now, that will close out probably in the next week or so. We'll then begin talking about how much it's going to cost and what the size of the building will be. The long and short of it is I've been putting real pressure on this. I'd like to see us break ground on a new facility on this campus this summer. If there's any way possible to do that, we'll get it done with an ambitious construction timeline that it would be finished by the summer 26 and ready to move in the fall of 20. That's what I'm pushing to get done. In addition to that, complicates a little bit. We actually need a new dining facility in that area also. And we're looking at the prospect of combining that with the project. That may be a little too fine a needle to thread at one time, although we can probably build out the shell of it and then follow through when we've finished determining who the next food service contractor will be in the longer term. But that's the very aggressive plan to get as many as 500 or more new beds built on this campus in very short order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question about the HVAC at SUSLA.
Yes.
We talked about that, and
Yes.
it's my understanding that that project campus-wide is on the books. It's funded,
Yes,
and it's
ma'am.
been waiting over a year. So can you speak to the status of that?
Sure. That's a $10 million project that's funded by HERF dollars. The design is completed. In fact, I will be coming down, I think, February the 4th or 5th for the actual pre-bid meeting with all the contractors. So that means that the advertisement has happened, that we're having a pre-bid. So once the pre-bid is done with the pre-bid meeting, they got a couple of weeks to submit their bid, then a contractor will be selected. So that project is moving forward. And as you said, ma'am, it's going to take care of the HVAC through the entire metro entire main campus. We also have HVAC project at the metro building, because as was stated, I think by Mr. Lawson, One of the biggest problems we have in our areas is basically control systems. We have control systems that don't work. And therefore it brings on a situation where there's mold, and then of course the building is not comfortable. So that's why that project was done. And my group really has instituted a focus on basically looking at the same type of control system throughout the whole system, so that everybody's familiar with it. There's communication about it. And in this day and time, there's no reason why somebody that's responsible for operation should not get an alarm on their iPad and be able to make adjustments to the system like that. So that's what we're working toward, and that's what's happening now.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning again. So I just have a question related to some study pods. So in conversation with some of the students on the Baton Rouge campus in particular, they were speaking about the different study pods that are in dormitories. And they said that they have the space is there, but it's used as storage. So is it any way that we can figure out what is in those rooms, and we can rededicate that space to being study pods as it was intended for the students? And if we can make that happen in the next 30 days or so, if that's possible.
I will report that into the group. that does. I would get provide that information to the team that's looking at that and see if we can get that done.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Entertain a motion to adjourn. And probably move. Meeting adjourned.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Call to order, Mr. Secretary.
Mr. Myron K. Lawson,
Present.
Mrs. Ann Smith, Mr. Reggie Abraham, Attorney Quincy Cawthorn, Mrs. Zell Dudley,
Present.
Miss Maple Gaines, Mr. Chris Massingale, Attorney Des Moines D. Rutledge, Attorney Tony Clayton. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Item number 3, adoption of the agenda. Are there any modifications on the agenda as printed? You heard the motion properly made by Board Member Rutledge, properly seconded by Board Member Ann Smith. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 4, public comments relevant to the agenda as adopted. Seeing no one approach the podium, action item number 5. It's items A, request for approval of iPad fee for incoming first-year students, SUSLA. B, request for approval of lab fee for undergraduate and graduate students enrolled in speech language pathology program, SUBR. C, request for approval of increased differential tuition for mandatory fee for any graduate, professional, specialized program to establish differential tuition for any undergraduate program included but not limited to granting certificate, degrees, diplomas, or any credentials of value that has been identified as high-cost programs by Louisiana Board of Regents, amounts by 5% SUBR. D, request for approval of tuition and fees increase effective fall semester 2025, and that's item number 2, request for approval for nursing, request for approval for social work, request for approval for university self-assess increase, SUNO, request for approval of housing increase, SUNO, request for approval of athletics increase, SUNO, request for approval to eliminate the SUNO Foundation fee that is charged $5. I think we're going to ask that item be removed. Is that correct? Okay, so we're going to remove item number 7 in that motion, if you will. Maybe we'll just entertain a motion for items A through D6. How's that? If not, is there a motion? Okay. Question.
Okay, I think it's working now. For item C, this tuition increase, Chancellor Pierre, do we have a line of sight? I know I talked to you about this previously on the amount of revenue that this increase will generate.
Yes, sir. So I can go program by program if you like. Or
I mean, I don't want you to have to go program by program, but the increased revenue, what's the anticipated use of it?
so, with respect to the ag sciences, I want to defer to Chancellor McMeans because he and I had a discussion, and I want to defer to him on that discussion, if you don't mind, Chancellor McMeans.
Yes, as it relates to the ag sciences associated with certain majors as animal science, these areas are quite expensive, being that, of course, we're dealing with animals, we're dealing with the facilities to house the animals as well as feeding them. So we don't necessarily get sufficient funds to feed these, so we have to write grants and proposals and seek money from the state. And so this would allow us to have those resources available for an animal science course or an ag business course that requires us to spend resources, of course, that we don't already have within our existing budgets.
And these increases will take effect this fall?
Fall of 2025, that's right.
For all of these that are listed?
Yes.
Now, this question is for the general counsel. The law requires that we are to provide that, as I appreciate it, prior to the imposition of the fee increase, that the management board must develop a procedure or criteria to provide notice and a hardship waiver. Is that correct?
I can answer.
I can answer because I have a
Yeah.
copy of the law. The answer is yes. So my question is, when are we going to develop those two things before this is implemented?
So if I may, so the idea is to get the approval so that we can do all those other things before implementation. So if we do it now, we have the ability to get those things in place to send out the appropriate notices because we have about a 7-month lead time before we do that, before it actually is implemented. But we really have about a 4 or 5 month lead time to make sure that we have all the notices. Plus, there is also a reporting requirement from the standpoint of the board to several committees, which I've outlined in the letter, legislative committees, board of regents, and so forth and so on, that we've got to get into place. So the idea would be, let's come to an agreement, then on the next board meeting, then set out a process so that the board can approve that we do all the things that are required in the law so that we are now set to go out and do and execute.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the item F is not a part of the motion, is it? Okay. Pardon? Okay. Thank you. I yield.
And we're eliminating item number 7 under D. I do not. I'll entertain one.
All right. I move that we approve items A, B, C, D, with the exception of 7 under D.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second to the motion? Properly second by Board Member Smith. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Really just
Board
a
Member
question for being the new board member, and I realize I have a lot to learn and to catch up on. It's always a little interesting. Your first major vote on the board, voting for increases to tuition and fees. Reading and studying the material, I did find it very impressive that the student body acknowledged the importance of some of that and said, yes, we can participate. But I think for my comfort level, before I vote Dr. Shields, I just kind of reinforce from your leadership position, I trust the chancellors, I trust this process, but I just give me a little bit more a reassurance as a new board member as it relates to the request for these increases in tuition and fees. Sorry about that.
Use chorus. Give him your mic.
All right. So let me just say something up front. We will not implement these until we're in compliance with the law. If we have not given adequate notice to the students, then we're going to have to bite the bullet and put off the actual implementation. The legislature recognized that there are high cost programs. They have a prescribed list that suggest where they are, which ones can be implemented. And to be clear, the way this will be done, if you're an engineering major and you take an English class, you're not going to pay extra for that English class. It's going to be applied directly to the courses that apply to that discipline. That is a little complicated to submit, but I'm assured that we will go through a process that will articulate that to the students, number one, and also direct how the money is going to be used, because it's not going to be pulled in and then not applied directly to those disciplines. Is that helpful?
Thank you, Ms. Mass. Yeah.
So if
Any
I
other
can-
discussion? Board Member Bailey.
So if I can give just a little bit more information, maybe insight into it, especially as it relates to the Southern University at New Orleans campus. If you look at on the agenda, we actually have the most. But to kind of just give you a little backstory, for example, the bulk of our nursing students are on scholarships. So the the nursing increase here will provide books for them. We go to a separate, we use Follett, and they use a separate service for books. So most of them will only be paying just for their books or their fees, for example. As it relates to housing, as we stated earlier, our housing is not the best. And we know that we have to find ways to work on that deferred maintenance, because it's there, and this will be a way to ensure that the students at SUNO have the best and top-notch quality living. And the social work fees, we have we have field work, and this would allow us, because I am a social work scholar as well, so this would allow us social work students to receive the best. So yes, it is an increase in fees. It's something that the students voted on with the help of our vice chancellor and our chancellor who's sitting over there. So we at the university do support the increase in fees, because we know that it's going to go to the best to ensure that we have the best and we stay competitive within our arena. So as it relates to SUNO, this is why we are voting it, and the student body do support the fee increases, because we know it's going to go to the right places this upcoming semester. Thank you.
She did a better job than the president.
Listen, that has a lot of weight. I leaned over to her earlier and I was like, it's funny that I saw that. I was like, now that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The truth be told, our tuition has not kept pace with inflation. And right now we're seeing the results of what's happening, which is the buildings, as Dana eloquently stated, are not up to where they need to be. So we're way under where we are to be. Fees, maybe not as much, but tuition is woefully behind where we are as compared to our peers. Okay. Any other unrest discussion? Chancellor Pierre.
Yeah, Mr. Massengale, great question. I just want to add and elaborate that we have consulted with the deans in these various programs and selected from the list provided by the Board of Regents. The other thing that I will talk about in addressing a comment by Attorney Rutledge is actually the legislation allows for up to 10% over a 2-year period. We, in consultation, decided to go with 5%, which is only half of the amount authorized over a 2-year period. And I will say this, I think that because this legislative act allows us to look at this every 2 years, that what this will do will get us to start thinking about every 2 years what that should be, so that we can really prepare and project what our cash flow is and should be, because I've learned a lot from Mr. Terry Hall and Mr. Flanders McClinton that if we don't understand that, we're not going to be in business.
Helpful insight. Thank you, Chancellor.
Board member, Chancellor Ammons.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. SUNO also submitted a request for high-cost programs, and I think it may have been inadvertently left off, but this request applies to the two four-year institutions. So programs for us like nursing, cybersecurity, data science, forensic science, computer information systems, and business administration are among those programs that we submitted a request for.
Okay. Other questions? All in favor, aye? Is this mic on? Are you, coffee pot off or what? Okay, all in favor, aye? Opposed, motion carries. We'll go to item number E, request for approval pursuant to, want you to hear that word, final submission of the Baton Rouge campus landmass housing assessment report from the vendor. The Board of Supervisors is authorizing the Southern University System Foundation to serve as the developer and or manager of housing projects for the Southern University System campuses. Discussion. Is Mr. Go ahead.
I spoke with the president about this as well as Mr. Alvarez, and I'm in favor of it. Here's why.
Mr. President stated earlier to Ms. Smith that he was waiting on the final GLL report. That report will deal with any feasibility studies that needs to be done, but it would allow within the next 8 months to 12 months the groundbreaking so that he can build at least 500 beds. I was telling him, my vice chair here, he was like, just 500, Tony? And I'm like, maybe the president and Mr. Harrell at some point could look to some third-party builders in Des Moines, what you call them, P3s or something like that, to help us build. So I think this is a great start. And I'll say the president doesn't toot his own horn, but this is a great piece that he's working on. And that GLL study was requested by him to make sure that it was in the best interest of Southern what they were building, not building these shabby buildings with all that styrofoam, whatever they build. So the man is in his office working. You heard Dawson talk about a bunch of buildings coming up. He and I, Sheriff, sat down, and you'll be surprised at building that's going on. So Chris, to the president, speaking for him, he doesn't toot his own horn, but he's in that office working, making sure that that these buildings are built solidly and on a great foundation. And that GLL report is one evidence of that. Thanks.
Thank you.
So,
Mr. President.
So I think one of the advantages of working with an organization like JLL is they can present to you the various models that would work. Okay. Right now we have it set moving down the tracks that the SU Foundation would serve as a developer of it. And I would say language here, they're not going to manage all the housing projects on the campus. We're going to get this initial one. Some things that have come out of the JLL report. And I will say to you that thus far, because they're meeting with us every other week with the leadership in the housing and student affairs, et cetera. Conservatively, we could add up to almost 800 beds and be fairly confident that we could cash flow them. It could be as many as 1,700 beds. We'd have to come to the board and ask them to authorize us to require both freshmen and sophomores to live on campus. That would build in the demand. Not prepared to do that just yet. They will also give us, provide us alternative methods of developing this and financing it. We've already met with one bank with JLL in the room. And it was a pretty impressive conversation they had, because as the bank started talking about it, the JLL person who had experience in this could say, well, here's 3 or 4 different ways you might be able to do this. We'll be talking with at least 2 more banks about that. And Also, the construction firms may actually be interested in serving as developers. So we will be coming back to this board um, to make decisions about that. I would like to reserve one of the board development uh, uh, aspects of the board meeting to actually have JLL come and show the work that they've done.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with the chair and the president. We are making the necessary steps to put this out in the marketplace. We shouldn't do this for more than one reason. Empirical data suggests that the foundation can do it quicker, they can do it more economically, and a better product on the bottom line, which is what our students deserve. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Mr. Harrell.
Before he does, can I say something?
Yeah.
I recommended to the president that we involve the foundation because of just what you just said.
Right.
So Al can get out there, he can sniper it, he can just go pinpoint, find the problems, and even tacitly negotiate and bring it back to the president and bring it to us. This is the quickest way, but the smartest way to get it done. He has the expertise. He's been there. He's done that. He built that philanthropy building over there. Let's just utilize his service. We don't have to pay him, but so let's just put him to work so he can do it.
I wasn't going to say that. That's another advantage. Mr. Harrell.
No, I echo the president's comments. This particular item and model offers the university more flexibility in terms of procurement, financing, and ultimately impacting the overall construction schedule, especially with housing as that demand continues to grow. And I think it's a great idea to have JLL, as they release that report, to come before this body to share their findings.
Thank you, Mr. Harrell. I think we have a motion on the floor. Is that correct? Not, I'll entertain one. The motion's item number E, request for approval pursuant to a final submission of the Baton Rouge campus landmass housing assessment report from the vendor. The Board of Supervisors is authorizing the Southern University System Foundation to serve as developer and or manager of the housing project for the Southern University System campuses. I'll entertain a motion. Properly moved by Mr. Massengill, second by Board Member Smith. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye, but
That
one
motion
question.
passes, yeah.
Just put the word "this project," not like the president. I don't want him doing all the managing everything up here. This project.
And it was pursuant to, that's why I emphasized pursuant to kind of, am I
Accept
correct?
that. All right.
Mr. Harrell? Pursuant to, it specifies JLL, right?
All right.
That's why I emphasize it. Thank you. Okay. Item number F is request approval.
No, you didn't care to vote.
Oh,
Right.
all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair. Item number F, request for approval to proceed with the RFP, request for proposals for food service for the Southern University System. I entertain a motion and I want to comment on it. Is there a motion? Moved by Board Member,
But I want to add
What
some
question?
conditions to the motion.
and I'll entertain a modification to it after you put it on the floor. You want to move with modifications or what?
I'll put it on the floor.
Okay, discussion, seconded by Board Member Massengill. Mr. Rutledge.
Thank you. Frankly, I'd hope that, Mr. President, we would have had a little bit more information to support the approval of this. Although I'm in favor of the RFP, I would like to request that the board be provided a copy of the RFP once it is completed. 2, a copy of the current contract with the current provider. And 3, I would like a memorandum that outlines for the board what our current obligations are to the current provider and what the implications are if we were to select a different provider. Prior to a vote on this, and I discussed this with the chairman, and I think he's like-minded, I want to make certain that our students have a meaningful seat at the table in this discussion.
That's correct.
Now, I eat, all of us on occasion, consume the food prepared by the current vendor. But for the people that live on these campuses, I want to make certain that we get some reaction from them around 3 areas. 1, the quality of the food. 2, the quality of the service. And 3, the quality of the facilities. And I think it's very important that we engage the leadership. Now, this is system-wide, as I appreciate it. Is that correct? Just not the Baton Rouge campus, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so I would hope that we would engage the student government leaderships on each campus to help us get some feedback from our students about how they feel about this.
And I want to
And
emphasize.
I'd like to put a timeline. Would it be unreasonable, Mr. President, to have at least the RFP, the current contract, and the memorandum that outlines our obligations by the next board meeting? Is that unreasonable?
I would like you to get it sooner than that.
Okay. All right.
Here's part of the challenge that we're facing. The vendors would be expected, if we're going to build a new food service facility to support the dining area back there, because what's already there, you could invest money in repairing it and trying to do it, but it's lipstick on a pig, if you will. But we will be expecting whoever we select to make a significant investment in the facility, the new facility, whenever it comes on board. And both of the vendors I've talked to understand that's part of it. So ideally, we could do this in tandem with the new residence hall, or even if we wanted to reserve, just build out the space and actually implement it later. We need to sort of have that be part of the process. So I would suggest that we have Mr. McClinton, we do have the basic outlines of the RFP available, and we can articulate the process we've used to get there because we've been talking across the system. Let's try to at least get that in front of you before the board meeting.
Why don't you get it to us right prior to this time, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
At least to the members.
So at least prior to the next board meeting.
Absolutely.
If before,
that's a long
great.
answer to.
And thank you for your comments, because they only amplify the point. We've got some new board members here. Whatever decision we make, Mr. Chairman, is going to have long-term implications, because this is not going to be a 1 or 2 year kind of engagement, because whomever the vendor there's going to have to be a long time for them to reap the benefits of the investment on the front end. So I just want to make sure that all of us are on the same page going forward at every step of the way, and to make certain that our students have a meaningful seat at the table when we make this decision.
Clarification purposes, could Mr. Rutledge motion to modify to include the restrictions that he just elaborated on?
And if you don't want those in there, I'll take them out.
That you modify. I think they should be passed with those restrictions.
Okay, well, then I'll modify it to make certain that that's a part of the motion.
Will you still second it, Mr. Massinger? I know you mentioned the clawbacks, Mr. Rutledge. The concern there is, I think the clawbacks are minimal when you look at the cost of waiting to the end of the contract, with inflation costs and the equipment costs that's escalating rapidly. I think we have to address this with a sense of urgency. The callback is negligible. Yeah, it's a penalty. Yeah, that's correct. There is a early out clause, but I think if we have a vision big enough, which it should be, because this is the things we're most challenged with, is accommodations for our students. That's what we dealt with earlier, right? And a quality of life that it also involves dining. And this addresses the issues that if we're going to grow, we got to address these two issues rapidly. So I'm glad that we're finally at a point to do that. Did I see another hand? You and
Will they be going on at both projects will be in progress at the same time?
Yes, one may complement the other. The dining hall was also an earlier program for with residential too.
We have the finances to do them at the same time. Would that be a handicap?
Well, we need to move further down the line and then present the alternatives to this board so they're aware of them. I think it's a pretty fine needle to thread to think we're going to get both of these things done at the same time. What I would suggest to you is that we need to contemplate either an adjacent building that's built out and then will be, you know, framed out that will be filled later, or the ground floor of the facility that will be built out later. Ideally, you can do it and you can build it and finish it all at the same time. The timing of the RFP and everything may make that difficult. But we'll come and lay that out for the board.
And what I don't want to do is be so restrictive that we don't allow the folk that will reply to the RFP to be restrained with what they can do. A lot of these companies will bring partners with them, like a Kellogg, like a Google, that will say, okay, it will be the Google's dining hall. It may be the Kellogg's dining facility. I stayed in the Kellogg hotel. So let's not be so restrictive. We don't allow them to use their resources to bring a better product than we could have even imagined. That's,
but it's entirely appropriate that the board completely
parameters,
understand what we're suggesting.
Questions, comments? Board Member Short.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, I just want to make sure that we are engaging the SUSLA and the SUNO family as much as possible.
That's right.
Because the needs are different at each campus. And I think it's important to engage them on what's going to be in the RFP. I commend Chairman Clayton for making it a priority for us to see the apartments at SUNO, because a lot of times the folks down in New Orleans feel like they're an afterthought. And I appreciate the comments that you've made and the time and energy that you've shown to make sure that we're doing things at SUNO. But I want to make sure that we engage the SUNO and SUSLA families, because everything is not going to be the same at each campus, and the needs are going to be completely different. So it's important for them to be engaged on what's in the RFP as we draft it. Okay.
Board Member Bailey and I engaged with some providers, and she's on it. But I think every campus head, we have several of them in the audience today. I see Ms. Orr, and I saw President Moore, I saw Mario, and I saw, of course, President DeAndre. So it's required, as far as I'm concerned, the chair hopefully will require that they be engaged. It should begin with the students. They don't have to be an afterthought. They should be the thought. So that's my position as well.
Question. So if BR campus is prioritizing the dormitories and of course the food courts, whatever we have, SUNO doing the living dormitory apartments or what have you, what would be SUSLA's priority?
It could be, I've heard conversations from the current president about
Rec center,
centers. He's done
The
some stuff.
gymnasium is the one.
And
okay.
Gymnasium, it could be.
We did have a
yeah,
bus trip up there,
yeah.
and we saw it. Several of the board members did. So
Well,
that would be their priority
Yeah, I mean,
at this time. I'm just
it's
saying,
whatever they bring. But certainly recreational facilities. They want vibes in dining experience. They want the pods, and they deserve that. I mean, the quality of dining is unbelievable. I've eaten it on this campus probably about 20 times last year, and I went to visit the cafeteria in Shreveport. The president has a great idea for the students, and we just need to listen to them. They don't have to think about it. They know what the students are looking for. Out here, for instance, I think there ought to be a door or a patio setting where you walk out and dine on Kernan Lake. I mean, it's just simple things like that, outdoor dining that we may not look at. So let's let them, small dream, as an older fellow told me, is a nightmare. So let them dream big about it. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
I
Matt.
did submit the RFP to each one of the campuses either yesterday or the day before. So they do have a copy of the RFP. And I asked them to provide back to us.
Mr. President, regular updates in communication as to where we're at with these processes. Okay?
We will circulate the draft of the RFP almost immediately to the board, so you have it to eyeball. I do want the board development probably sooner than later to be able to get JLL in front of you to understand the residence hall project and options, so that you're well informed about those things.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Massengill, Mr. Abrams and I spoke with Tracy. We have an office on the 4th floor. And so a lot of these questions that we have, I mean, Rutledge and I know each other, so we call on the phone. But if you're in the Baton Rouge area, you got some downtime, go to that office, go by the president, go by the chancellor, and you can do your work there. And you can spend some time up here and ask them any questions. So we do that a lot. But this is going to be a shared governance kind of chairman between Shorty, Des Moines, Myron, and the former chairs on this board. And we got Dr. Tarver to call. So everybody's here at your disposal. Pick up the phone, call either one of us, and we're ready to work with you to do that.
Thank you. And getting to that, all of us have some engagements, people we can touch. The president and I talk about it all the time. We have quite a few buildings on this campus without names on them, and people that pay significant dollars for names on them. So I invite anyone in the audience or any graduates that work for corporations you feel your corporation will be willing to give. I'm asking that you.
Can you see the Chris Massengill Stadium over there?
I see it already. As long as it's not blocking the Tony Clayton Plaza, I can see it. Thank you. I know there's some robust discussion.
I would suggest you can tell Ms. Gaines has spent a lot of time thinking about student affairs and academic work. I think she'd be a valuable resource for you to chat with her about that. And Mrs. Smith has been on this board for a long time, and you can still feel the reverberations of her leadership. So I would encourage you to talk to them too. So don't leave people out.
Okay. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 6, informational item, interim financial report. Mr. Flanders McGlynn.
Okay, for the interim financial report, the report is as of November 2024. And in the report, the report is broken down in a summary form and also by campus. And the campuses, I'll start with the board and system administration. And the board and system administration, all our funds are state appropriated funds at the system level, which means that we have no shortfall because there's no budget cut. So we are, based on our spending, we are in line with the budget, and there's no revenue shortfall. But the Southern University of Baton Rouge campus, we have a $657,000 shortfall. And it's based basically on self-generated revenues, but the campus have made the appropriate adjustment to the expenditures to make certain that they are able to balance the budget at the end of the fiscal year. For the Law Center has a shortfall of $2,170,000 in revenue. Again, they have made the adjustment in their budget. They are reducing operating services based on that $2,170,000. These are some funds that they have set aside that they're able to reduce the expenditures to make sure that at the end of the year, their budget will be balanced. For the New Orleans campus, their shortfall is $2,448,000. And again, they have adjusted numerous expenditure items in order to balance the budget. And for the Shreveport campus, again, they have a shortfall. And their shortfall is $172,000. And they have adjusted their expenditures. And the last one is the Ag Center. There is no shortfall because they are totally funded by state appropriations and federal funds. One of the things we'll be able to do later in this year is to adjust the budget so it'll be in line with the actual amount that is being, the revenue is being recognized. So I'm suggesting to all the campuses that they need to make certain that
when we have the opportunity, and we will, to be able to adjust the revenue so that the revenue, when it's the budget is set, is more in line with the what the actual revenue should be. In a couple of cases, for example, I know at the Law Center, they anticipated having a drop in revenues, and they talked about it maybe a year or two ago, but we need to adjust the budgets to make sure that the budgets are more realistic. But I am working with each campus to see that we make certain that we cut the expenditures to meet the budget. If there are any questions, I would be happy to address them.
I appreciate the need to look at cutting the budgets. But I would just hope there'd be more of a focus in making sure the budgets are accurate than just trying to cut. If there's $2 million that the campus can easily reduce expenses in the budget just like that, based on the shortfall, then are we accurately in the fiscal in the cycle for doing the budget accurately putting those monies in the first place? So
right.
What was that set aside for in the first place, and why did we not expend it halfway through the year or what have you? So we just need to make sure that we're being pretty accurate from day one, so that we know what's free and what's not. So
yes, sir, I agree. And that's what we plan to do, is to make certain that the budgets are more realistic.
Okay. Any other, Chairman?
Have you been in conversation with Baton Rouge and the other campuses as to what enrollment is looking like for this semester? Are we going to pick up the numbers that will generate more revenue, or will it be subpar?
Well, we have talked, in fact, we talk about it every Monday in our presidential meeting, and it varies, but in the I know, like with the Baton Rouge campus, based on the data, and I'll let the chancellors talk about this, more in more detail. But I know most of the I know Baton Rouge campus is expecting, and based on the numbers they are presenting, they are anticipating an increase for the spring semester. I know that when I listened to the Shreveport campus, their numbers are looking, like they probably have maybe a slight increase. With the Law Center, they're not anticipating, based on the information that I've seen, but they're thinking they'll be able to make their budget. And with the New Orleans campus, Dr. Ammons, I don't want to misquote you, but I think they are pretty much in line for the spring semester. And that's the information we get. It make a presentation to the president every Monday when we meet.
Just a quick question. We've talked in the past about when the budget freezes or when the purge date moves and that kind of thing. So can we speak to, since we're talking about the budget, when is the budget final and when do we close on it and not move the purge dates and so on? So can someone speak to that?
All right, the president and I have had the discussion this week, and we do have a budget calendar, and I need to share that, but we can share that budget calendar with you at the next meeting, but it's to go step by step all the way until the budget is approved. I can share that. Either we can send it out to all the board members.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This request is for the chairman. This request is for board leadership. As you know, and I think we alluded to this, Mr. Chairman, at the beginning of the meeting, through the efforts of the caucus, we're going to realize some additional revenue, I believe, the next fiscal year. I would like the administration to begin socializing this with the board for its approval at the earliest possible date, such that we have a line of sight on exactly what we're going to do with the additional revenue. I don't want to wait and just get it 10 days before we have to vote on it. I understand there's a lot of conversation between the various chancellors and the president about what we're going to do and what those priorities are, but I'd like to have a line of sight on that. And I'm asking the board leadership to make certain that we hold everybody's feet to the fire, that we get a line of sight on that as early as possible.
That will be done. But I want to make sure we get that money. I don't want to count our chickens before the egg. I agree with you. They all hovering around the trough for it now, but we will make sure that it comes back before this board before it's disseminated to the respective entities.
So let's commit to, at the February board meeting, reporting out what our proposals are. I've talked with each of the chancellors. I'm not, so it's a bit of a moving target. I think we're pretty firm that that Southern University system will receive an additional $7 million. Depending on what happens with the constitutional referendum, there may be an additional $3 million, but I'm also getting wind that may not be as firm. And I've asked each of the chancellors to put in place a process where they do on their own campuses put together a plan on how to use the money strategically that would be available. What I've told them is the general model that we'll use to start with is the pool costs that we charge them. They're assigned to that, but I'm not wedded to that. It may be that SUSLA, SUNO, we may adjust it so that formula works a little more to their advantage, but I want to see what their strategic priorities are up front. $7 million sounds like a lot of money. It's not really when you look at things. And I'll talk a little bit more about our legislative priorities. I do think there's a chance of more one-time money coming our way because of a budget surplus. But we do need to think strategically of how we would invest those dollars across the system. I already have them thinking about that. And chancellors, we need to be prepared at the next board meeting to talk about what we think our plans will be.
You know, Mr. Rutledge, piggyback on what you said. And I would like to see, use the word strategically, that for example in SUNO, we go fix up those beds over there, you can generate revenue. So let's just don't take this one-time money and go buy some brand new lawnmowers. Let's go fix up these dormitories here on Baton Rouge. We can rent, we can make money from that. So we have to make revenue off. So good point, Mr. Rutledge. I'll make sure that's done. And we hear you, Mr. Matthew. You just opened my eyes to that when you said that. But that would be in the background of minds from going forward.
I just have one more. The question came up earlier regarding, this is the org charts, the recent org charts we have, but it's related to the budget because the vacancies that we have, it'd be helpful to know if those positions are funded and when they'll be filled at each campus. I'm not sure, but when you look at them, there are vacancies and that's monies to the budget. So I would ask that question.
Phone calls that I have received within the last week or so with them enrolling in school this semester. I also spoke to Chancellor Pierre, and this is an unusual semester for me because I've never had 10 or 15 extra students asking for funding to get their admissions cleared and to get in this year. So can you tell me why, or I don't know if anybody else is having those problems. I know I am. And you know, I'm always students first. I always try and make sure that the students are heard, along with, I know our student board member does it all of the time. But this is the first time I've had an influx, not just from one campus, but from several campuses. So can you tell us a little what's going on with that? And then maybe we can address it. I did speak with the chair last night. He gave me an avenue, but it's even he even only had a narrow avenue of help that we could do. So can you tell us what's
Yeah,
whomever?
yes, ma'am. Mrs. Smith. So you and I have talked, and I've fielded many calls from a lot of different places trying to resolve a lot of the different issues. So one of the things that I want to tell you is that, and it's a good thing, is that what we have done is we've implemented processes to have students understand that they're going to pay before the semester starts, and we're not going to be dragging this out 3 or 4 months into the process. And I've shared that with the president, and I've shared him the most recent numbers. For example, last spring, at this very date, today's date, we only had 3,400 students who had paid into the spring semester of 2024. Now, as of this day for 2025, we have 5,400 students paid. That's an increase of 2,000 students. Okay? So, what we're having them understand is that there is no more COVID money. There isn't a back door to which they can get into school and not deal with their financial obligations. One of the things that I have learned over the last year and year and a half is that we have gained revenue, but we've had to deal with things going back to 2022, 2021, 2023. And Ms. Honore Thomas, Dr. Anthony Jackson, Dr. Young, and I are committed to clearing those kinds of issues going forward, but also making, and this is a commitment from me, making myself very accessible to talk through all the issues that come with why aren't you paid? How didn't you know you didn't finish your installment payment plan, and so forth and so on? What's the glitch here? And that has changed the whole situation. And I think Mr. McClinton can count on this, can comment on this. Our cash flow situation is much better than it's ever been at this time of the semester. It makes a difference. And what we're doing is we're getting students with a culture change. We talk about the purge stuff. Nobody likes to talk about purge. We understand the pain. But what we find is when we do it, we find out things that help students going in the future because they're not paying attention to these kind of issues. And sometimes they're not communicating with their parents what's really going on. And once we start to identify that, we're making
Mr. Lawson,
a huge difference.
After lunch, you're going to have to control your people testifying. Right?
She's asking the rest of the chancellors too, so if you will, Chancellor Pierre.
They can make their point kind of quicker.
I know.
So yes, and you keep funneling the calls. We handle.
And thank you for, he does, Chancellor. I do know that you are making those calls and you're clarifying to those parents because they will in turn call back. But we're still having an influx of calls. I know I am. I can't speak for the other board members. Are you board members? Are you all getting those kind of calls?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would. Thank you, and thank you, Chancellor, for returning those calls. It helped me us a lot.
Thanks for the brevity.
Now, Chancellors, we get it. So unless it's something new that hadn't been stated, you could go ahead and add your input on it. If you're doing similar things, that's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. I would just like to add, we are doing similar things at Southern University at Shreveport, and we also have a 91% increase in the number of students who have paid their tuition this semester as of today. But one of the things that we're also doing, we are sharing more information about scholarships because what we're finding is students are interested in paying their fees, but they're having some trouble. And so we're trying our very best to share information about our various scholarships that are out there. And so we have a push to share more information about that type of funding at Southern Shreveport. Thank you.
Yes, we're doing the same thing, but I think our semester is starting later than, I know it's starting later than SUBR and SUSLA. So our students are coming in this week. We're a little behind in terms of students paid, but it's picking up because classes will start on Tuesday. One of the things that we noticed, Ms. Dudley, you mentioned the purge. In the fall, our numbers were significantly higher before the purge. And these were students who were in class, doing all of the things that they were being required to do academically, but they didn't have the money. And so we lost students after the purge. Now, will they be able to come back in the spring? We are working with them. We have these call campaigns, email campaigns, seeing what the issues are, trying to get those students back. But they have an intent of completing their degrees, but financially it's tough.
Okay. All right. Any other business needs to come before the Finance Committee? Item number 8, adjournment. Is there a motion?
I move.
Move. Does not need a second. Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Chair,
you,
thank
Mr.
you.
But what's your wish? You take a break or let's keep working through?
We can finish
Working
it up.
through.
We can finish
My
it up.
my esteemed attorney from St. Landry Parish, Legal Affairs Committee.
I'd like to call the legal affairs committee to order. Can I get a roll call?
Yes, sir. Attorney Quincy Hawthorne.
Present.
Attorney Des Moines Rutledge. Ms. Dana Bailey. Mrs. Maple Gaines. Attorney Edwin Shorty. Mr. Henry Whitehorn. Attorney Tony Clayton.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. All right. So moved by Member Shorty and second by Mr. Whitehorn. Any public comments? None. We move to action. Item 5. Action item 5A, extension of the Bayou Classic CEA.
I move that you pass it. I move that we pass 5A and B in global.
Pass.
Chair, make a motion.
I should.
There you got any talk? Any discussion? Any discussion?
Oh, okay.
No? Haven't heard none? All right.
This doesn't include AW Memphis Stadium in the expansion of the Wi-Fi.
Well, because that's, with respect to the grant, A.W. Mumford is an athletic facility. And so there's but there are things around A.W. Mumford, and with a combination of other people like AT&T and T-Mobile and Cisco, we will be able to resolve a lot of issues related to A.W. Mumford.
Yeah, but let me follow up on that. Put a study hall in A.W. Mumford.
What's that again?
Put a study hall inside the building.
All right, well, we'll work on that. Okay, we'll work on that. We'll work on that, Governor Long, Huey Long.
All right. Any opposition? All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn? All right, first by Board Member Shorty, second by Board Member Whitehorn.
Adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Carter. The first committee, you did well. You get an A+. All
right.
Get Wi-Fi.
Star, gold star.
Let's bring it on to Mr. Edwin Shorty, Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I call the Personnel Affairs Committee to order. Roll call, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Mr. Edwin Shorty.
Present.
Ms. Maple Gaines. Mr. Reggie Abraham. Mrs. L. Dudley. Mr. Chris Massingale. Attorney Des Moines Rutledge. Mrs. Ann Smith. Mr. Henry Whitehorn. Attorney Tony Clayton. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? So moved by Mr. Massingale, seconded by the sheriff. Any public comments? The agenda is adopted. Any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to action item 5A. Can I get a motion to approve? So moved by Mr. Massingale, seconded by Mr. Cawthorn. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Action item 5A is approved. Any other business for the Personnel and Affairs Committee? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
That's how you
So moved by Ms. Dudley, seconded by the sheriff. We're adjourned.
All right, thank you, man. Now we go to Southern University Board of Supervisors. Let's call the Board of Supervisors to order. Mr. President, now roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Attorney Tony Clayton,
Here.
Mr. Reggie Abraham, Ms. Dana Bailey, Attorney Quincy Cawthorn,
Here.
Mrs. L. Dudley, Mrs. Maple Gaines, Mr. Donald Ray Henry, Mr. Myron K. Lawson, Mr. Chris Massingale, Mr. Paul Matthews, Attorney Des Moines Rutledge, Attorney Edwin Shorty,
Present.
Mrs. Ann Smith,
Present.
Reverend Dr. Samuel Tolbert, Dr. Ronnie Whitfield, Mr. Henry Whitehorn. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next item, adoption of the agenda. I move that we strike item C, resolution supporting the naming of the new Jaguar. He's already been named Puma, so I strike that off the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with the redaction. Moved by Ms. Bailey, second by Mr. Matthew. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the agenda has been adopted. Any public comments? Anything pertaining on the agenda? Nobody's coming forward. Let's move to action item 6A, which is A and B. What's the pleasure of this board?
Resolutions.
Action item, sorry, say again, what's the approval? Action item 6A and 6B have been moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, let's go now to Chief of Staff, Mr. Vital. Do you have any resolutions you want to put forth to this board?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have some resolutions. The list is a little long because we did not have a December meeting, but I think they all are due the respect. And so we have 9 condolences and 2 commendations. Bob Love, a native of Bastrop, Louisiana, was a highly mobile forward who could shoot well from both his left and right hands. The 6'8" starred at Southern University in Baton Rouge from 1961 to 1965. He is the all-time leading scorer in Southern University men's basketball history with 2,458 points, 23.7 average, and finished with 1,483 rebounds, 14.7 average, during his 104 games at Southern University. Love scored 138 points in 3 games. He appeared in the 1965 NAIA National Tournament. Love also earned an NAIA All-American honors during his illustrious career at Southern University. His number 41 jersey was retired in 2012 and can be seen in the rafters of the F.G. Clark Activity Center. Mr. Love was a class act on and off the court and was the first NBA player to come from Southern University, all while dealing with a severe speech impediment, which he overcame and went on to become an inspiration in the community. He passed away November 18th, 2024. Ronald Ron L. Smith was a 1977 graduate of Southern University Laboratory School and a 1981 graduate of Southern University and A&M College, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Accounting and Finance. Mr. Smith was a founding executive director of the ExxonMobil YMCA since 2010 and previously served the Southern University Teachers and Parents Federal Credit Union as Director of Public Relations and Loan Operations Manager. Was Senior Vice President for Resolution Trust Company, President of GSL Investment Limited, and a cost accountant for General Motors Corporation. Mr. Smith was also entrepreneur and real estate developer as owner of the Hilton Garden Inn, Baton Rouge Airport from 2007 to 2009. Mr. Smith had various other properties in Baton Rouge and Lafayette. He passed away November 27th, 2024. Lena Mae Newton Spears started her career in 1957 with the housing department at Southern University and retired in 1987 as a supervisor after 30 years of dedicated service. She also supported the Southern University football team at home and was served as a Jaguar usher for over 35 years and traveled to many away games. She passed away November 30th, 2024. William Matthew Lockhart Jr. graduated from Southern University Laboratory School in 1965. He obtained 2 master's degrees at Southern University.
He worked at Xavier University, where he was the advisor to his beloved fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi. He began working for Southern University Law Center in 2001. He passed away on December 1st, 2024. Dr. Roosevelt Wilson graduated from Scotlandville High School as valedictorian and student body president in 1960. He earned a Bachelor's of Science and Master's Education from Southern University, a Master's of Natural Science from the University of Oklahoma, and a PhD from the University of Iowa in 1975. Before receiving his PhD, Dr. Wilson furthered his studies at Texas Christian University through the National Science Foundation. His intellectual sojourn included the following: as a classroom teacher, dean of students, supervisor of student teachers, and a professor at Jackson State University and Southern University. He held memberships in Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity and the Phi Delta Kappa. Dr. Wilson was a lifelong season ticket holder. He passed away December 10th, 2024. And forgive me if I mispronounced this name, but Marita Sarazin Miller pursued higher education at Southern University in Baton Rouge, earning a degree in early childhood education. While there, she achieved the esteemed title of Miss Southern University 1958-1959, and also became a proud member of Alpha Tau chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She passed away December 15, 2024. Professor Aaron Harris was born in 1935 in a house built from rough cut of cypress wood in rural Washington, Louisiana. Professor Harris was the second of 13 children, born to sharecropper father of African descent and a Creole mother. He graduated from high school in 1953 at the age of 17. He was provided a job by Dr. Leon Netterville at Southern University in the school's dining hall. Professor Harris was a remarkable individual whose journeys from plantation to professor, who inspired so many. He passed away December 16th, 2024. Carl Lester Doc Williams was one of the most legendary athletic trainers on the college level. He served as head athletic trainer at Southern University for more than 4 decades. In addition to his long tenure at Southern, Doc Williams was a mainstay at the Dallas Cowboy summer training camp for many years. He was named honorary Dallas Cowboy. Doc Williams worked with numerous coaches and student athletes while establishing himself as one of the icons of the athletic training. His career saw him work with 7 athletic directors, 11 head football coaches, and numerous coaches in Jaguar sports. He will be remembered by the athletes he touched. He was introduced to Southwestern Atlantic. He was inducted into the Southwest Atlantic Conference Hall of Fame in 2008 and the Southern University Sports Hall of Fame in 1996. In 1988, Doc received the SWAC Distinguished Service Award and was inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. He passed away on January 1st, 2025. Professor James Henson was a professor in the Southern University Agriculture Center, passed away on December 30th, 2024. He was employed as a plant scientist for over 20 years prior to coming to Southern University. He was employed as a statistician at the Agriculture Center. He was 81 years of age. 2 commendations. Frances David Shaw, Southern University, 1967, affectionately known as Mama Shaw, is more than an educator, mentor, and friend. She is a transformative force who has shaped the lives of countless students, families, and the entire community. She began her remarkable teaching career over 50 years ago, stepping into Northside High School in 1972 as one of the first black educators. For 41 of those years, she taught in the same classroom at Northside, molding young minds and inspiring generations. Today, she has come full circle, returning in 2024 to continue shaping lives as part of what she fondly calls the Dream Team. Congratulations to Miss Frances David Shaw. She was featured on the CBS Mornings Monday, January 13th. Finally, we have Professor Angela Allen Bale. Southern University New Orleans Center for African and African American Students is honoring our very own Professor Angela A. Allen Bale with the prestigious Living Legend Award on Friday, January 17th at 6 p.m. at the Millie Charles School of Social Work. We want to congratulate Professor Bell for her dedication to justice and her impactful work, which has been significant contributions to our community, and this recognition is well deserved. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our resolutions.
Accept all of those notices and resolutions by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Lawson. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposition? Hearing none, let's move on to informational item number 7. Mr. President, your presidential report. Set the tone.
So you want 30 minutes, right?
No, it was just 2 minutes. We got some new people over there, so we.
Well, I got a lot to cover, but I'll move quickly. Thank you for the service of the past board members. Welcome to the new board members. Appreciate your commitment to Southern University system. Some exciting things. Just in the last week, it became clear to me the level of involvement by Southern University in Super Bowl activities. The Southern University Ag Center will be providing sun beef that will be used at the Taste of the NFL Saturday afternoon just prior to the Super Bowl. The Human Jukebox will be the featured band in the pregame show, and they will, I understand, be actually participating in the coin toss, so it'll give us great exposure. At the Bart Starr NFL Breakfast, the men of Susan, the almost 40 African-American men that are in the nursing program or recent graduates of the nursing program, they'll be honored at that breakfast. 2 SUBR students, Olivia Brock and Emmanuel Burns, were selected to participate in the Super Bowl HBCU experience. And so it's real exciting. I was planning to be at a different event, Alumni Federation event in Washington, D.C., and I was told I had to be available for all of these. They're also inviting you, just so you know.
Going to the Super Bowl.
Tonight is HBCU night at the Pelicans, and I've been asked to be present there. I'm told that one of the players through their agent is going to make a significant contribution to the Human Jukebox to support the purchase of musical instruments. I want to report out, we will be interviewing over the next 2 weeks on campus the 3 finalists for the Law Center Chancellorship. The interviews have been completed for the Chief Human Resources official. I will be probably visiting them not next week, but the week after. I'll be out of town all next week. So we hope to be coming to the board with recommendations on both those appointments at the February board meeting. I want to encourage any of you that are going to be at the DC Mardi Gras next week. We have a reception Friday, January 24th from 2 to 5, and I'll be there all week. There's a whole host of events that I'm looking forward to attending, representing Southern. But if you're going to be there, any board members are going to be there, let us know so we can make sure we can include you in the loop on everything we need to. I just want to take a moment to remark on the capital projects. Ken, to his credit, didn't toot his own horn. You need to understand there are $317 million worth of projects across the system in the pipeline. About half of them are going to move this year. Some of them you're already seeing projects move. That's a credit to Mr. Dawson. It's a credit to board members, to the legislature for moving those things along. Sometimes the things like they're never going to happen, but there's earth being moved now, and I have confidence you're going to see on each one of these campuses projects moving over the next calendar year. I wanted to send my thoughts out to and alert to the board members that what we know is that there are at least 8 of our alums that have been impacted by the Los Angeles fires. The Alumni Federation has established a funding mechanism there. So send your prayers to them, and if you can send some money, that would be great too. The last thing I'd like to remark on, well, second to last, by the next board meeting, we will be give you our printed copy of the legislative priorities. I was a little late this morning because we were speaking to Commissioner Barra. I think the important things, we got to keep the advocacy going. Um, the session starts in the first half of April. Secretary Barra said today probably not going to be a lot of work done on that until they know the results of the referendum, the constitutional referendum at the end of March. Right now, the governor's put us in a standstill budget, which means they won't be using the funding formula, but we're certainly free to make the case for our requests. I won't spend a lot of time on this. I will just tell you that we've worked with each one of the campuses to develop a budget request. SUBR is asking for an additional $9.2 million. SUNO 13.6. A real point of advocacy, I'll keep saying this, is to get the $3 million in recurring dollars. I will probably make that the number one priority so that it gets moved. SUSLA has asked for an additional 5.3 million. The Law Center 11 million, and the Ag Center 2.4, which doesn't include the $10 million match we're asking them out. So we'll be putting out our booklet, and our legislative advocacy team meets every Tuesday morning. Anyone that wants to participate and hear what we're doing and add their voice to the chorus, you're welcome. And then the last thing I'd want to say to you is I'm glad about the board development, and I thought asking our chief academic officers to step up and give a conversation was remarkable, and it shows the leadership that is being provided by Doctors Young, Hall, and Cook, and I think we're very fortunate to have those kind of leaders on these campuses. We are going to make a difference, and it's going to be directly aligned with the talent that they're bringing and exercising and the leadership on the campus. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chancellor. Before they start, young ladies, professional doc, he's spot on with that. I'm looking forward to you guys working with Chair Lady Gaines and then the academic affairs, Ms. Smith. Y'all all ladies, but I believe y'all gonna move us to another level. So for the 5 to Pentagon.
Can I go first? Okay. Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the board, President Shields. First, I want to also thank and recognize the long-term successful efforts of Congressman Fields, and we look forward to working with him in Washington. I also want to thank members of the Louisiana legislature and the encouragement that we have received and the funding that we have received from them, but also to hear about base funding, having recurring dollars coming into our institutions. I want to thank the former members of the board and again welcome Chairman Clayton, Vice Chancellor Abraham, and the other new members of the board. We look forward to the next phase of the history of Southern University in the system. And, I have to say to Chairman Clayton, to Supervisors Henry, Shorty, and also Gaines, your visits to our campus meant so much to our community. Your presence on the campus helping us to better understand the issues that we're having with our physical plant, and knowing that there is a full partnership of SUNO within the Southern University system. It sent a strong message to our community, and I want to thank you all for your presence. We took advantage of the Bayou Classic, even though SUNO is not a football playing university, but we provided our Strata Scholars, Strata Education Foundation, funds scholars at SUNO, And we use that opportunity to expose our strata scholars to business and industry leaders who were in attendance at the Bayou Classic. And so we see this as more than just a football game, but it's an opportunity to provide valuable opportunities for our students. At our last meeting back in November, I mentioned to you that we had 6 students who had been admitted to medical school. Well, after that meeting, we had another student, former Miss SUNO, Darielle Mitchell, who was admitted to LSU School of Veterinary Medicine. So within a month, 7 students from Southern University at New Orleans being admitted to medical school. And I want to congratulate the faculty in biology, also the faculty in forensic science. We have created a Girls in STEM initiative in forensic science. Dr. Miko Thompson, our president of the Faculty Senate, and Ms. Brooklyn Johnson have put together a program exposing young ladies to STEM and engulfing them in research. And it's paying off, and these numbers that you see going to medical school is a part of that overall effort in the sciences. The other thing that I want to say too, and I want to thank Supervisor Shorty and also Supervisor Rutledge for insisting that we have not only student involvement in the food service RFP, but also that we understand that each of our campuses has different needs. And, you know, one of the first things that I said when we talked about a new RFP for food service, whoever we select better be able to make good gumbo, because that's a must in New Orleans. So, again, I want to thank you all for your attention to that. And then the last thing that I want to say, a bit of sad news. And Mr. President, you were there, and I want to thank you for your visit on yesterday. And you heard some comments about our library. Well, our director of libraries passed away. And I'll provide additional background information on her for our next board meeting. So that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Clayton. Welcome to Southern University as it relates to your first meeting, not your first in this round. I know you've been in this position before. I want to say welcome to the new board members. And also, I would like to say thank you to those board members who are leaving out as well. They were very helpful to me within my first year, and I cannot thank them enough. I do look forward to working with all of the new board members. We have already started some work in Shreveport with our sheriff, and I'll start my report with that. One of the programs that we're looking at is a reentry program with Caddo Parish Sheriff Department, and we have submitted a proposal that we're working on together, as well as a MOU to begin to offer courses for individuals at Caddo Parish Sheriff Department and Sheriff Office. So we're really excited about that memorandum of understanding. Also, I would like to mention we closed our semester with a holiday social where our faculty and staff actually came together, enjoying food, music, just the camaraderie of being together and celebrating our wins throughout the year. But one of the highlights of our holiday social is that Mr. David Aubrey with the Board of Regents and AT&T Louisiana and Mississippi, he surprised us with a donation to help our students in our BSTEM programs through scholarships. And I wanted to just publicly thank Mr. David Aubrey for that generous donation to our students in our STEM program. Also, I want to recognize a couple people in our humanities and social sciences area. Dr. Angelica Hart, who serves as our interim dean for arts and humanities and social sciences, along with Mr. Sherman Houston, who is one of our faculty sponsors for the Beta new chapter They have inducted 25 new members in the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, and that have moved our numbers to 500 students on our campus. And we're really excited about our Phi Theta Kappa program, where our students are participating in programs on campus, other clubs and organizations, and they're also doing work in the community. One of the things that's very important to all of our campuses, our SACS accreditation. And Southern University at Shreveport, we are gearing up for our 5th year report, which will be due in 2026. We have individuals on our campus, Dr. Debony Brown, along with Major Brock, who's working with various departments on our campus to ensure that we're ready for our 5th year report. And I do believe we are in a good position to be very successful. We're also working with our consultant, Dr. Silver, on ensuring timely and exemplary reports to our SACS team. One of the other things that's really important at Southern University at Shreveport at this time, when I started this position, we realized that, or I realized along with the administration, that we did not have a strategic plan in place. The strategic plan we had in place ended in 2019. And so we have really worked diligently to implement a strategic plan at Southern University at Shreveport. We held forums where we listened to our community, our faculty, staff, students, alumni, and our business partners. We wanted to hear what did they have to say about Southern University and how could we best serve our community and how could we best serve our students. And so I have submitted our strategic reimagine SUSLA strategic plan for 2030. That would take us from 2025 to 2030. It is in the hands of President Shields at this time. Once he review it, I will share it with our local board members prior to bringing it before this board for approval. And hopefully next month you'll have the opportunity to review the Southern University at Shreveport strategic plan. We're also working on restructuring. I want to say thank you to you all for approving our organizational charts. We'll be making a few changes as it relates to our organization to ensure that we're successful with the strategic plan that we have in place at Southern University at Shreveport. And just before I conclude my remarks, I want to also say thank you to Dr. Young and her team this morning, Bree and Dr. Hall, for that presentation. I believe the information they shared, along with Board Member Gaines, I believe the information they shared this morning is going to be critical to all of our campuses as it relates to moving forward with technology and how we will begin to look at recruitment, retention, and graduation on our campuses. So again, thank you to them, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I got you, Mr. Chairman. Vice Chairman Abraham and new board members, President Shields. I want to thank the chairman for taking the time out of his busy schedule. I know it was super busy, and coming to visit with us at the Ag Center. It meant a lot to my executive team to listen to them discuss and be proud of their programs, but at the same time talk about some of our challenges within the Ag Center and out in the community. I have just 2 items. The first one, you should have received some information about our 82nd annual livestock show, which is the only HBCU that delivers that program in 82 consecutive years. So we're proud of that program, and this year will be February 22nd through the 29th. We will kick off with now our new annual event, Boots and Bling. And Mr. President, bring the checkbook again because we will ask you for money, but all the money goes to scholarship to support our young people within the College of Ag. And we will send you more information on that as we start to get that information. The other activity we have as part of that week is called the Ag Expo. Last year we had 3,000 K through 12 youth that participated in that program, exposing them for the first time in many cases to agriculture and dispelling the myths of what agriculture is really about. And so we're looking forward to that, and we'll make sure that you have opportunity to come out to our experiment station if you like and meet with those young people. And last but not least, as far as the livestock week, we will have the award ceremony on that Saturday, the 29th. which is a great event, kind of co-hosted with myself and Commissioner Mike Strain. So we will send that information to you. Last but not least, I shared this with President Shields. Last week when we were having our one of our meetings, I received a notification that one of our scientists, through via unsolicited proposal, received $1 million grant to set up a soil testing lab. And it wasn't just really a regular one when I was in school, soil testing to find out what it's made of. They're actually using drones and sensors to determine the water moisture or holding capacity of soil. And so that was the first of HBCU getting a grant that we don't have to apply for. And hopefully it will continue to come to it. But I'm proud of Dr. LaShondra Hodges, and she's within the Ag Center as one of our researchers. That concludes my report.
Process is open at the Law Center. We are accepting applications for law school. Now, our LSAT medium last year was 146, and we have indicated to the ABA that we're going to increase that. Now, the medium is like the midpoint. What that means is 50% of our students had an LSAT score of either 146 or more or higher. And so we need to increase that every year. So we're going to be very selective and at the same time, maintain the mission that we have. And that is we want to provide educational opportunities to underrepresented individuals in the legal profession. So we're going to be asking our alums to help us to recruit students. We lose about 300 students between admissions and enrollment, meaning they apply, we admit them, but they don't enroll. And a lot of those students have the type of GPAs and the LSAT scores that we want. We haven't been able to give the kind of scholarships that we would have liked. And so we're going to have fundraisers for that. And thanks to people like Attorney Clayton, we do have some more money for that. We've looked at our budget and we repositioned funds in order to be able to offer student scholarships, because that's key. And we are, as I said, going to invite some of our alums to be recruiting ambassadors to host events. We're going to meet with about 10 students at a time that we're going to target and, just try and make them understand the benefits of going to Southern. Our alums are doing great things. They're doing everything that everybody else is doing, and we want to market and promote that to potential recruits. We have been reconnecting with alums. We've been meeting with alums. We've been acknowledging their accomplishments and promoting their accomplishments at the Law Center and on our social media outlets. We have an annual roundup every year in April, and this year we're inviting 5 classes to come back and celebrate the class reunion with the hope that they bring checks. And so board member Shorty's class, they all contribute about $83 a month, I think, collectively. And that's what we're asking the other classes to do, is to contribute to the law school monthly. And I think it maybe comes out of their checks directly, and that's what we want. So if we can get that going and get thousands of them doing that, that'd be a considerable amount of money for the Law Center. We also in the midst of preparing for the bar exam. We have repeat takers, and those are students who are taking the bar for the second, third, or fourth time. We have a special program to help them. We conducted a survey of them. We met with them, and we have tailored the bar review program to meet the needs that they say that they have. We also have a mandatory bar prep course, and we are working with our current students to get them prepared for the February bar. And we have a a supplemental boot camp program in place too, where we are working with our graduates. We have a financial assistance program in place where okay. I'm trying to get it in. But anyway, we're working on board prep in multiple ways. And so thank you. Thank you for your continued support. Because, I did have 3 or 4 more minutes of stuff to say, but thank you very much.
Yes, good afternoon. I want to, again, like all the other chancellors, welcome our new board members, a new vice chair, and of course, you as the chair, and acknowledge the work of all of our previous board members. You have my report. The couple of points I want to make. Human jukebox, President talked about them, but they're also going to be at SoFi Stadium for the Honda Battle of the Bands, and then also they're going to perform at the Kennedy Center this spring. I just signed a contract for them to do that, and that's significant. In addition to that, Southern University School of Nursing was recognized as the #1 nursing school in America. And I'd like Dean Brown to come forward. We make history every day. All right.
Thank you.
Where's the mic? Where's the mic?
Thank you. Thank you, honorable members of the board and our newly appointed members. Welcome. You are joining an elite group of individuals who have supported us tremendously. Joining me at the podium is Marlon Hollins, our Director of Advancement, who was responsible for nominating the school for this honor. And we also have Karen Broussard, who is a 1996 alum of the School of Nursing, and she comes to us by way of Houston and does a tremendous amount of recruiting in the Houston area. We have a large number of students from that area. And so to God be the glory is all I can say. Never did I think that the School of Nursing would be recognized at this magnitude. There were 139 schools that were nominated, and we were excited that we made that list. And then when we found out we were one of 5 finalists competing with what we consider giants, University of Michigan, University of Washington, Florida State University, and Emory University, and there was Southern University School of Nursing. And so all of this, it hit differently because it came from the Jaguar Nation, the votes that poured in, the support from administration, from our students and our faculty. And I think what stood out was that we don't have much, but we do much with what we have. And what I tell my team is let's not focus on what we don't have. Let's focus on what we have and make an impact. So thank you. God bless you, board. God bless Southern University.
And something that I think would resonate with Vice Chairman Abraham is St. Martin, St. Martinville, Lafayette, Lauraville. All right? Acadiana Pride. All right. So that concludes my report. Well, thank you very, very much. And thank y'all for all the votes today, because one of the votes is for those students at that #1 school of nursing to all have iPads. And that is significant.
Dean Brown thanked everybody except herself. I mean, that lady, whatever she touches turns to gold. I love her to death. Miss Dan- So keep it up. All right. The two new guys that we've added to the podium, that's going to be the person representing the alumni and the foundation director, Al Rel. Al has somewhat modified it to make it quarterly. So I think he's going to take a long time with 25 slides just to take up all of his time. But what I wanted to inject into the board is what the alumni is doing. We don't want to know y'all business, how y'all operate. We just want to know, just the whole nation, the whole world to know what you're doing over there, what you need us to know, and what we can do to help you. So you, Mr. Dixon, and you, Mr. Harrell, you guys have been valuable to this university. So welcome to part of the team. We're happy to have you up there. So with that, Mr. Dixon, you're 2 minutes. Go ahead.
First, Mr. Chairman and board, thanks for this opportunity and this platform to kind of share what the alumni is doing and what the alum are talking about across the country. Uh, I sent out a email to all the chapter presidents, and they were ecstatic about this direction that you chose to take, Mr. Chairman, and including us. And somebody had something to say that they wanted me to express today, and I'll do that. And just simply, they wanted advice, and I guess it would come from administration on what alum can do when people come to them with concerns about registration and other issues on campus, what advice to give them, because they're on the front line. They're giving scholarship to students and recruiting in their areas. They just want to know, how do they feel those concerns and help those students as they try to matriculate through your campuses. I do want to say
No, what was your question?
well, they just kind of want to know.
I was actually responding to an email that's going to come to you later, Chairman.
Yeah, simply put, they want to know, how do they when students from their areas come with concerns and challenges that they have, not just with registration but anything on campus, how do we help them help those students?
Well, what I would say, we've done and invested a lot of different things. We have a call center where if they're here, they can actually give a call to 4522, and that number comes directly to our area. We have where they're answering the phones, but also reach out to myself and enrollment management. All right, we're every call that we get, we're responding to the students, and we're making sure that those students understand. But we're also doing Zoom calls, and we're doing SU up all night, so we can make sure that we're communicating to the students so they'll have the information that they need. So they can reach out to enrollment management, and we'll make sure that we're responding to every response.
And I wanted just to add that we've been working very closely with the third vice president, Mr. Elder Jackson, with the Alumni Federation, and working through processes that help alums, the chapters, figure out what we can do to work closer together. So we've been doing that.
All right, and just two informational things, just FYI. One, I've been in touch with the alum in California. I think the president mentioned something about them, but they have set up a fund to help alum that are in the area that have been impacted by the wildfires there. We just sent emails out to all the alum today. We posted it on our social media, and I'll share it with the university communications as well as the foundation, so we can send to as many people in the Southern family, so we can reach out and help those. I know maybe one or two personally that I just sent money personally to because their story broke my heart. So we ask that it prayer is good, but faith without works is dead. Finally, I'm preparing for the Atlanta SWAC MEAC Challenge. We'll at some point be announcing a host hotel and some activities that we are planning as the alum to provide engagement and more importantly, raise funds. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, good morning. Congratulations, Mr. Clayton, Mr. Abraham, on your appointments, and all the new board members, welcome. Thank you for this opportunity. I did have a conversation with Mr. Clayton last year when he was appointed about the foundation and the federation, having the opportunity to come before this body to give you an update on some of the work that we're doing, and I want to do that now. This is not working. No. So just high level, okay, there we go. All right, I'll say next slide. All right, I think it did. It's working now. It's working now. High level, just to make you familiar with some of the resources that the foundation currently has in place. You'll see a 3-year comparison report in terms of our total assets and liabilities. That represents about roughly a 14% growth over 3 years. If we were to show you 5 years, it would be close to 25% growth in total assets, which includes cash, properties, land, equipment, as well as investments. For that same time period, you'll see a 3-year fundraising comparison. And we segmented this by different constituencies: corporations, alums, foundations, and friends who are not alums, just anonymous donors. As you can see here, over the 3-year period, it's been roughly about a little over 100% a growth here, a little close to 100% growth in our fundraising. But the majority of our growth has come from our relationships with our corporate partners, as you can see in the navy shaded area, growing from 8.4 million to 13.4 in 2024. And then next in line, our alums who stepped up to the plate in many respects in directing resources, not only to scholarships for students, but also to capital initiatives and strategic initiatives on our campuses. And then as well from foundations, as well as from some anonymous donors and other friends. As you're aware, we're in the middle of a capital campaign. We are in the silent phase of that. Our benchmark is $750 million, and it's impacting all 3 of our land masses, 5 campuses. To date, we have raised in the public side, this is through capital outlay, federal grants, et cetera, $248 million. These are in commitments. And from the private side, 29.1 for a total of $277 million. We will not announce the public phase of the campaign until we're at 70% of our goal, which is typically the standard in these type of capital campaigns. Campaign initiatives that have taken place. How do I go backwards? I got it. There we go. We are hosting 5 regional kickoffs. We've already hosted our first one. We did this one in Beverly Hills, California. Our hosts were 2 alums, Leon and Warren Baldry, as well as Tina and Tony Clayton from the Phoenix, Arizona area. This was 120 individuals who attended this event, and here are outcomes from it. We sent out a survey to them and asked them to complete that survey. 55 of them completed it, and 7 individuals indicated a intent to give a gift of $1 million or more to this campaign. And then you'll see the other segmentations there as well. Again, we plan on doing 4 more of these regional kickoffs. The ones in 2025 are scheduled for Atlanta, Georgia, and Washington, D.C. We're also conducting trainings annually with our faculty and staff on all of our campuses. Most recently, we just did a system-wide major gift training here on the Baton Rouge Landmass that included all of our campuses. And so we want to continue to do that. We developed a relationship and contracted the Alfor Group out of Chicago, Illinois, to serve as our campaign consultant. You talked about scholarships earlier. So, you know, the foundation is in the business of directing resources to the university. You'll see the growth in scholarships directed to the university over the last 3 years. That represents a little bit north of 100% in scholarships to students on all of our campuses. Likewise, we have strategic initiatives that are directed our way through grants, and you'll see where we are with that over that 3-year comparison. Finally, the president alluded to our work and our partnership with JLL to develop a plan for specifically the Baton Rouge Landmass housing projects. And so we're looking forward to that report being submitted to us so that we can start moving quickly to provide housing for our students. Good governance. Last year, for the first time, the Board of Supervisors, the Foundation Board, as well as the Alumni Federation Board of Directors met to talk about initiatives and opportunities for us to collaborate under the title of good governance. And so we have developed a scorecard in concert with AGB, the Association of Governing Boards. And the first thing that we wanted to do was to provide better opportunities for collaboration and communication. And what you see in these presentations here from the Alumni Federation and the Foundation is an opportunity to do that. We've benchmarked this by the quarter, Q1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll update that with the year-to-date analysis as we move along. I'm not going to go into detail on each one of those, but the Vaudry Center, we have a report that's sponsored by the Hewlett Foundation on minority giving. We had the pleasure of having Dr. Emmett Carson, the former chair of the Silicon Valley Foundation, and our own alum, Elsie Scott, the former chair and president of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, to lead this research. This will be published in this, I want to say this spring, and it'll be the first published work of research from the Vaudry Center. Matthews Center expansion is underway. We're moving through some documents with the state, and this is Matthews Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. This was first brought to our resources back in 2014 when we received a grant from EDA to help us develop a disaster recovery center as well as a small business development center. We've reached 100% occupancy. Irvin Matthews, an alum and foundation trustee, directed $1.5 million to expand this program to now include innovation as well as entrepreneurship. We hope to break ground on this by April of this year. And then finally, Bayou Classic. We received some preliminary numbers at the end of last week. And this is a comparison from 2023 to 2024. In 2024, you can see game tickets gross sales went up almost $1 million. The biggest variable that impacts that is the dynamic ticket pricing that we went over with you in detail during the presentation from NOCCI. And that's going to continue to climb. And that's impactful for us mainly because those ticket revenues are on the campus. You look at the Battle of the Bands that went down a little bit there. That was comparison to the 50th anniversary. And then sponsorship sales went down slightly. About a $900,000 gift was sent to us from the legislature in 2024. Finally, game attendance went down by 1,491, but overall gross sales went up about $104,000. concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Ticket prices data.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed, this was long. Well, it wasn't me. Huh? Me?